All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and welcome to today's live commentary coverage of the Euro 400 at Chicagoland Speedway and the NASCAR Cup Series return to the track for the first time in 7 years. As we get into this pre-race show, we're going to go and do some NASCAR trivia here in a couple of seconds. Go through the starting lineup in the in-season tournament for this weekend's NASCAR action, the second week of the in-season tournament challenge. We'll see how my bracket's doing after week one. We will check to see the matchups, of course, for this week and the drop of the green flag in roughly 30 minutes from now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. The start time for the stream was supposed to be 5:45 p.m. Eastern, so I apologize that the start time on the stream channel itself said 5:30. It did say 5:45 on the community tab, so I apologize for the mix-up there if you were waiting for an extra 15 minutes or so. As I saw people in the chat waiting over the last couple minutes as I was getting the stream up and running. So apologize for the miscommunication there, but we're on time. Just the wrong time was listed on this stream specifically. But thank you for sticking around. I greatly appreciate that. And I'm excited for tonight's race. Should be a good one. This was one of the better mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule when it was no longer on the schedule from 2020 through 2025. But this season, it should be a pretty fun race here tonight. Hopefully, the weather holds up and we can get all 400 miles in. As we get into the trivia, it's going to be a NASCAR Chicagoland Sporkle quiz, and this is going to be an interesting one because NASCAR has not raced here recently. We'll see what we can do to try to put together the best finish to a quiz possible. So we'll go NASCAR Sporkle, and then I'll go NASCAR Chicagoland. Some of these quizzes are outdated on a track-to-track basis, so the fact that this track hasn't been ran in 7 years, it actually might be the most up-to-date quiz. So we will do a quicker quiz for tonight. And we will do anybody who has ever won at Chicagoland, and this is across the Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series. 6 minutes will be on the clock, and we have to name the winner of each of them. Now, I will be able to get all the Cup Series. I can almost guarantee it. I feel pretty confident there. All the races in my lifetime. Kind of the case for the Truck Series and the O'Reilly Series as well, as far as every race at this track being in my life. First race here in 2001, the last in 2019. But those O'Reilly and Truck Series options on these quizzes are very, very tough. So we'll see what we can do. 6 minutes again on the clock. And we're going to do the Cup Series first. And actually, Jimmy Johnson did not win in the Cup Series. His only win here was in the O'Reilly Series. So Jimmy Johnson on the list. Jeff Gordon won the no, Mark Martin won the nope. Okay, well, Gordon Martin. I guess we're going to have to go a different route here. Carl Edwards has not won here. Okay. I thought I was going to do a little bit better right off the rip, honestly. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle. Shoot. He's Kane? No, Casey Kane. Alex Bowman won in 2019. Busch has won here a few times. I know Denny Hamlin's won here. Keselowski twice. Logano, I believe, in the O'Reilly Series won here. Austin Dillon in trucks. Okay, no Hornaday. Sauter won a truck race here. Johnny Sauter won a truck and an O'Reilly race here. Green, no. No Brian Vickers. Dale Jr. won here in 2005 in the Cup Series. Sterling Marlin did not win here. McMurray, nothing there. David Rudiman won the 2010 Cup race. Kevin Harvick. Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek in the Truck Series. Allmendinger in O'Reilly, nope. Briscoe, no. Tyler Reddick? No Reddick. We'll try Custer. Cole Custer's on the list for the O'Reilly Series. Truex won here in 2016 and 17. Missing 2003 in the Cup Series. That's the only Newman. There we go, Ryan Newman. Okay, so now we got all the Cup Series. Still 3.5 minutes, 40 of 54. Brett Moffitt win a truck race here, maybe? He won 2 of them. Okay. I'm missing 2012 trucks. Stenhouse win in the O'Reilly Series. He did in 2012. I'll do Boyer. Boyer's not on here. It's a good guess for 2006. Justin Labonte in 2004. I honestly was not thinking Justin Labonte. I put the Labonis in there to see if like Bobby might have won one of those early 2000 races, but I'll take Justin Labonte. Allgaier? Justin Allgaier a couple times. What about Regan Smith? Nope. He's not going to be on here. Elliott Sadler? Elliott Sadler's on the list. 2014, 2015. It's crazy they had 2 races a year here. I never remember Chicagoland being on the schedule more than once. Some of these lower series. See what the chat's got. Jack Sprague wouldn't have won 2012 in the Truck Series. That 2012 Truck Series, that's going to be difficult. Flegerman? I don't know. Smithy Peters? I'm not going to focus on the 2012 trucks. Mid to late 2010s. O'Reilly. Larson on here at all? Kyle Larson in 2018. What about Chase Elliott? Chase Elliott in 2014. Byron? No William Byron. Blaney? No Ryan Blaney. Eric Jones. Scott Riggs. Dang it. I tried Hornaday and Bodine already. Oh, Menard. Casey Mears. Oh, Casey Mears is on here. Sorensen. 2003. Jason Leffler. Who is that? Jimmy Spencer? Oh, dang it. We're only 2 away. That was a great run. Great run in the chat. Bobby Hamilton Jr. Wow. I think that might have been his only, at the time, Busch Series win. It wasn't Bobby Hamilton Sr., the usual Bobby Hamilton that we get on the Cup quizzes, but it was Bobby Hamilton Jr., his son, and I think he only won 1 career race. 2003 at Chicagoland. Then James Buescher was the 2012 champion in the Truck Series, and he ended up winning the 2012 Chicagoland race. So that makes sense there. No, I don't think of James Buescher much when I think of 2010s in the Truck Series, but he did win a championship. Younger brother of Chris Buescher. Not too bad. Honestly, that was a really good run on that quiz. I mean, I got a Casey Mears, a Justin Labonte on there with the wins in the O'Reilly Series. Johnny Sauter. What other names I pull out of there? You guys got Eric Jones in the chat who had a couple of them. That was a good pick. Yeah, that was a pretty good run. Got all the cups. Not too bad. 52 of 54, 96%. Average score is 87%, which was very high, but we were able to crush it. So, awesome job. Yeah, honestly, I'm not upset about that. That was a good run. 6 minutes is just not a lot of time to do those quizzes. It really isn't. All right. Thanks for playing along. And we will highlight the in-season tournament challenge now as we're about to get into tonight's racing action. And if you had fill out a bracket on NASCAR.com and or the NASCAR mobile app, and if you have checked the standings based off of the first round matchups, you would see nobody has a perfect bracket on NASCAR.com after the first week. 2 years in a row that has been the case. Atlanta, of course, with the big one in the middle of that race last year, kind of upsetting the field. And Tyler Reddick, who was the number 1 seed in the tournament, got knocked out by Alex Bowman last week after Reddick had a power steering issue, which had dropped him out of the race in the early going. Reddick finished 4 laps down as a result of not having the power steering in his race car. He was one of the few cars that finished off the lead lap, and he had a dead last place finish in 36th out of 36. Alex Bowman, meanwhile, not a great run, ended up finishing in the top 20, but good enough to outlast Tyler Reddick. So that was one of the bigger upsets last weekend in that tournament. I ended up going 12-4 last week, and honestly, pretty good considering that I have all of my round of 8 drivers in this tournament. So I got the final 8 still intact, and I only have one matchup coming into this week where I didn't have either of those 2 drivers advancing, and that would have been the Cindric and Keselowski bout. Actually, no, I did take Cindric over Keselowski, so never mind there. But I would have had Reddick advancing over Austin Cindric, and because Reddick is out of the tournament already, obviously I can't advance there. A lot of people probably had Reddick going deep in this tournament, being the points leader when the tournament started, now second in points behind Denny Hamlin, but still a strong season so far. I actually had him eliminated by Carson Hocevar in the third round of the tournament, so that could still be intact if Hocevar advances. So this weekend on the in-season tournament challenge, we've got Austin Cindric versus Alex Bowman. I technically don't have anybody advancing through there. I still got a chance in every other matchup, though. I got Carson Hocevar over Todd Gilliland for this weekend. Hocevar's been very good on the 1.5-mile racetracks. Does not surprise me if he advances over Gilliland, who could have a good run, but obviously there hasn't been the consistency there. And if there has been consistency at Front Row Motorsports and intermediate tracks this season, it's been Zane Smith and not Todd Gilliland. Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs is going to be a very 50-50 matchup. Joe Gibbs Racing has been class of the field. Really, Toyota as a manufacturer has been class of the field on 1.5-mile tracks this year. So that's a coin flip between those two. It was very difficult to pick between the two of them, but Briscoe does have the slight better finishes than Ty Gibbs on this style of track. Though Gibbs was very hot last week, he scored more points than any other driver, minus SVG, the race winner, of course, because of all those points you get with a win. But Gibbs won the first 2 stages of the race. He finished third, led a bunch of laps. He had a great run. Briscoe was right there, though, and he finished in second place. So they're both red hot coming into this weekend. That'll be a fun matchup to watch in the in-season tournament challenge. Michael McDowell goes up against Chase Elliott, and both of those picked correctly last weekend. Elliott is my pick this week, far and away better on 1.5-mile tracks than Michael McDowell this season. Elliott does have a win at Texas this year as well. Ryan Blaney versus Shane Van Gisbergen on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's Ryan Blaney's third in points. SVG, obviously not the oval master like with the road courses. I had both of those drivers advancing. They both had good weeks. SVG with the win at Sonoma last week, and Ryan Blaney had a top 10, ran top 5 for most of the day. So I got Blaney. Kyle Larson versus William Byron, of course, in the same equipment, but Larson has been outperforming Byron by a pretty wide margin this year. They're both winless this season, but Larson being top 5 in points, with Byron outside the top 10. There's just been more consistency out of Larson. And Larson qualified on the front row, looked fast in practice already this weekend, so definitely going to stick with my gut there that I still think Kyle Larson will take that matchup. The next matchup, we got Christopher Bell versus Chris Buescher. I do have Buescher advancing. Christopher Bell having that injury with the broken wrist, I just feel that Buescher is going to ultimately have the upper hand there. Buescher qualified in the top 5 this weekend, so looking better. I know the Toyotas and Joe Gibbs Racing are that good on 1.5-mile tracks this year, and Christopher Bell has been very good, but he has not raced an intermediate 1.5-mile oval since he has had the injury to his wrist at Michigan in that crash about 3 weeks ago. So I'm not going to expect Bell to advance out of this. And actually, Bell didn't even advance out of the last matchup, as looks like I had Chastain beating Bell in the last week's matchup, so that's what was off there. Because of that injury, still kind of sticking with that, and Buescher looks really good this weekend. RFK as a whole looks good because both Keselowski and Buescher qualified in the top 5. And then you got Denny Hamlin going up against Eric Jones this week. I had Logano actually beating Jones a week ago. Legacy Motor Club has been quietly fast this season. That could be an upset if Hamlin has an off day, but Hamlin's on the pole for the 4th consecutive oval race, and he's going for 4 consecutive oval wins. It has been the summer of Denny Hamlin so far. I'm sticking with my gut, thinking Hamlin is good. So honestly, based off of having to put the bracket in before last week's race and seeing the matchups that I have for this week, some of them are actually better matchups than I had predicted because of the likes of like Todd Gilliland getting in over Daniel Suarez, so he doesn't have to go against his teammate Hocevar when Suarez has won on a mile and a half this year. Alex Bowman and Austin Cindric there now going against each other with Reddick out of that matchup. Eric Jones against Denny Hamlin when I had a Logano initially in there. I do feel better about my second round matchups than maybe what I was when I was actually predicting this. So we'll see how far forward we can go there this week. So again, nobody's got a perfect bracket, so we'll see who is going to be the top dog when we get to this. Audio's going in and out, and now nothing. Let me reset the audio. Audio is good? Let me know in the chat if the audio is still good. We got over 100 people watching already. Greatly appreciate that. Still about 15 minutes before the drop of the green flag for today's race. The audio looks good on OBS right now, so I apologize if there's any issues. But that is the in-season tournament challenge, and we'll update that throughout the course of the race if anybody falls out of the race. And we'll take a look at those matchups. Remember, $1 million on the line for the driver who wins the in-season tournament challenge. Ty Gibbs, winner last year, and still in it to try to go back-to-back this season. Denny Hamlin on the pole for today's race, and the rest of the starting lineup will look like this. Hamlin, a former winner at Chicagoland back in 2015. Kyle Larson's never won here, but he's finished runner-up 2 times, also starting on the front row. Had that epic finish in 2018 with Kyle Busch in one of the last races here, and also had a great run and a second place in 2019 behind his teammate Alex Bowman, who beat him out in the closing laps. In row number 2, the RFK Racing Fords of Chris Buescher and 2-time Chicagoland winner Brad Keselowski, a winner here in 2012 and 2014. Ty Gibbs with Christopher Bell in row number 3 as Bell tries to return to his winning form in 2026. Gibbs looking for his second win of the season. And 2 more Toyotas lined up behind them in the top 10. Row number 4 between Chase Briscoe and Bubba Wallace. In row number 5, Chase Elliott, who has a 1.5-mile track win this year, a former O'Reilly winner at Chicagoland, but never a Cup winner. And William Byron, who has only ran 2 races here on this oval, one of which a top 10 in 2019. In row number 6 will be AJ Allmendinger, and the last winner here, Alex Bowman from 2019. Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney will line up in row number 7 as Reddick comes in the first race without having the points lead this season. He is only 1 point behind Denny Hamlin entering this week. Carson Hocevar with Zane Smith, 2 young guns having a fantastic season despite their equipment for most years leading up to 2026. Hocevar still top 10 in points, lining up in row 8. Row number 9 for John Hernimacek and Riley Herbst, who have turned the corner in the last month or so. In row 10 will be Ross Chastain and Ryan Preece. Behind them, the rookie Connor Zilic and Eric Jones in row number 11. Row 12 for Austin Cindric, who's right on that chase cut line, along with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., former O'Reilly winner at this track. Austin Dillon, a former truck winner here, along with Daniel Suarez, will be in row 13. Row 14 for Ty Dillon and Corey Heim back in the Cup Series, his first race since winning on the San Diego Street Course race 2 weeks ago in the Cup Series. Todd Gilliland will line up with Shane Van Gisbergen in row 15. SVG making his first start here, a new oval for him. Joey Logano, poor in qualifying yesterday, will start in row 16 alongside Noah Gragson. Row 17 for Cole Custer and Josh Berry. Row 18, Austin Hill and JJ Yaley pulling double duty this weekend with the O'Reilly and Cup Series race. And rounding out the field in row number 19, Cody Ware and Michael McDowell. So that will be the full field starting lineup for today's race. Both Ware and McDowell did not participate in qualifying yesterday afternoon. 80 laps in stage 1, 85 laps for stage 2, and the final stage will be 102 laps to make up our 267-lap, 400-mile distance for today's race. Pretty typical race length for what we see on most 1.5-mile tracks in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's a very worn-out surface. There's going to be a lot of tire fall off here this weekend, and there already has been between the O'Reilly race yesterday and what we were able to see with the full 50-minute practice session Friday afternoon for the Cup Series. Much more the same here today. Hopefully weather holds off. Of course, we had about a 4.5-hour rain delay before the O'Reilly race yesterday, When it's humid like this in the middle of summertime, you tend to get a lot of afternoon pop-up showers. Hopefully getting closer to the nighttime skies with the temperature cooling off a bit. We don't have those issues here tonight. This is a later start to that of the O'Reilly race from yesterday, so that may help just a bit. And let's go trackside for the national anthem.
Sarah. Gracious God, we want to thank you so much today for the 250 years of freedom you've given us as a country. And we thank you for those who have sacrificed and paid the ultimate price. Today we ask for the protection over every driver, every crew, and every fan that is here. And we ask that your spirit would reverberate through these drivers as they get ready to go supersonic around this track and bring us all home safely. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from Navy Band Lakes musician Petty Officer 3rd Class Bobby Kola.
Oh, say, can you see this early light? What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we-washed, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs burst, proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Wait, that takes 6 for 1999. Careful, those babies are muy picante. I can handle the heat. You want to try it? Yeah, you're right. It's really not that. Oh, too spicy, too spicy. Big 6 meal for 2 for 1999.
T-Mobile has the best network. That's why there's no better place to get iPhone 17 Pro on them. Hold on. We should have music. I should dance.
It's T-Mobile, incredible iPhone 17 Pro on us.
America's military is unmatched, projecting power, denying passage to adversaries, and protecting our interest at the time and place of our choosing.
All right, getting set for the start of tonight's race. We still have to go through the point standings for this evening's action, and as the drop of the green flag is set to begin, again, this is the first race of the season in which Tyler Reddick is no longer the series points leader. Who would have thought 5 wins in the first 9 races, winning the first 3 races in a row outright? Daytona 500, Atlanta, the first trip there, and then Circuit of the Americas. And Tyler Reddick was going to lose that points lead. The fact that he loses it still in the regular season, quite astonishing. But Denny Hamlin has been red hot. 4 wins on the season, 3 of them in a row on ovals in the last month and a half. And he has climbed to the top of the NASCAR Cup Series. Hamlin, of course, after finishing runner-up in the championship standings a season ago, still searching for that first career title at the age of 45. In a historic run at that age here this year. He has not slowed down because, again, this week, he is on the pole for the 4th time this season. Now trying to go for race win number 5. He has won from the pole in his last few outings. In every race he has won of the 4 this season, he started on the front row. Hamlin with just a series lead of 1 point. Those two have also allowed for Ryan Blaney to catch up, as well as Ty Gibbs in recent weeks. Of course, I mentioned already about Gibbs winning the first 2 stages last week, finishing 3rd. He was able to catch up more than 30 points on both Hamlin and Reddick, who had poor finishes. And Ryan Blaney, who was 165 points back just 2 weeks ago, is now minus 104, gaining 61 points in just 2 races. He scored the most stage points of anybody in San Diego Diego with a top 10 run and another top 10 run and top 5 in both stages last weekend at Sonoma. So looking to keep that string of good luck going for him here this weekend in Chicago. Kyle Larson still looking for his first win of the year. Is not that far out of third place in points, minus 148 from the lead on Hamlin as he's fifth in the standings. Chase Elliott sits in the 6th seed with Chris Buescher 7th, Carson Hocevar in 8th, Daniel Suarez 9th, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 10. Chase Briscoe, runner-up last week at Sonoma, still searching for his first win of the year. He's got a couple of top 3s on the season and 6 top 5s all in recent months as that team is starting to click after a slow start to the year where they were outside the top 30 in points through the first 6 races. William Byron is 12th in the standings as he is trying to get back on top after a slump at the start of the year, kind of similar to Briscoe, but he is picking it up as of late. Had another good run at Sonoma last week, picked up another spot in points. Bubba Wallace, after a great run at San Diego with the runner-up a couple weeks ago and scored a lot of stage points in that event, unfortunately did not follow that up last week at Sonoma. He loses 2 more spots in the standings, now sits 13th. Shane Van Gisbergen with a win at Sonoma bumped up back into the chase cut line. He is 14th in the standings entering this weekend with Ryan Preece 15th and 16th. Austin Cindric, the last driver in above the cut line. He's 12 points ahead of Eric Jones coming into the weekend for that final transfer position. Brad Keselowski is minus 25 points out of that gap. He starts in the top 5 this weekend. That's going to be an interesting watch. AJ Allmendinger just inside the cut line with those 2 road courses having some solid runs in San Diego and Sonoma. Top 5 at San Diego. In fact, Joey Logano continues to free fall in points this season. 20th in the standings for that 22 car, the 3-time Cup champion, and a dire situation just to get into the chase. We'll see if he can get it done. No win and you're in. It's all about consistency, and some of those drivers lacking that over recent weeks going to have to battle on the forefront in these closing races of the regular season. Once today concludes, only 7 races to go until the chase begins. We're in the back half of the schedule, and after 18 races have been completed, it is about time for today's race. Very bumpy, very worn out surface here at Chicagoland Speedway. Going to be a lot of fun to watch these drivers navigate this old but new racetrack to the 2026 NASCAR schedule. Shout out to those of you that have been watching in the chat here since not only before the stream started, but as the stream has begun as well. We got Charles Tinsman, Dean Tate, Henrik Huckleberry, Dad. Let's see who else we got here. We got to scroll up a little more. JoJo, welcome to the stream. Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in. Patrick Chatterley, Shadow Raptor 18, Frank Power, Steve J, Ernest G, Mike H, FAH, thanks for tuning in. Tyler, welcome to the stream. Stuart Gilbert, welcome in. Joe Rochester, Robert Goodrich, welcome. Thanks for playing along in the trivia that we were doing at the start of the stream as well. And many others. I can't scroll back any further than that on my YouTube Studio website. But I see you. Corey, welcome to the stream. All right, they've just given the command to fire engines for today's race, so we are getting very close here. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream as well. Sunny skies, very humid throughout the weekend and throughout really most of the week around the U.S. It's going to lead for some very hot temperatures inside those race cars this evening. I'm sure a lot of these drivers can't wait for the sun to go down, but unfortunately for them, and the time of year it is, most of this race is going to be taking place in the daylight. Scheduled as a night race, but with this race beginning Central Time Zone, it's really only 5:18. Should be done in the 8 to 8:30 time slot Central Time wise, and it's going to be very close to darkness. Not going to probably get to complete darkness. This track will be going through quite a bit of changes as the temperature drops. Nighttime skies come up with those cooler track conditions, but not going to completely be shaded out by the finish. All right. We've covered pretty much everything we have to right now. I forgot to put my fantasy lineup in. I think that's the first time this season I've completely forgot that entering this weekend. I was looking at that moments ago, and I was trying to get it in when the national anthem was going on, and it was too late. It already locked. So I've got last week's lineup back for this week. 3 of the 5, I think Briscoe, Gibbs, and Larson could have a really good run today, and probably would have kept most of those guys on that team. Um, Definitely would have added Denny Hamlin in there, but not going to have him for this week. Hamlin, my pick for the race win here today, and I didn't get any of the head-to-head matchups, unfortunately, for this weekend. On the KRC League side of things, again, we only have 8 races to go in the regular season. Got Hercules Harrigan out in front with 39.51. Freaky Fast 4 in second with 39.41. Only 10 points out of first. Monster Jam X10 in third with 39.22. 38.91 for Track Squirrel in fourth. Detroit the Great rounds out the top 5. 38.82. I'm sitting in sixth place with 38.05 entering the weekend. Very, very tight. Super Speedway at Atlanta next week. That's going to really shake the points up quite a bit. We have 3 straight Sunday night races on the NASCAR schedule starting this weekend. Next weekend at Atlanta and North Wilkesboro. The week after that, slightly later start times, about 7 p.m. Eastern for both of those races on Sunday the next 2 weeks. And definitely with the warmer temperatures outside, I'm sure the fans are happy, and the grandstands at these races going to be taking place in the nighttime here as we are in the summer months, especially going down south for both the Atlanta and North Wilkesboro races in North Carolina over the next couple of weeks as well. They're gifted night races as they should this time of the year. Might be warm this weekend in Chicagoland. Probably going to be way warmer in Atlanta next weekend. Atlanta in July, just brutal. Just like 2019 all over again. Only got his first win. We'll see. Maybe he goes back to victory lane. He looked pretty good this weekend. Hendrick Motorsports, through practice and qualifying, looked a little bit better across the board this week than what they have on most of the mile and a halves this year. Larson on the front row, both Elliott and Byron also qualified in the top 10. Bowman in 12th. I think there could be some good things here for Hendrick, and only one driver on that team has won a race this year. Chase Elliott has gotten 2 of them. Kyle Larson still winless, but top 5 in points. Maybe he can finally get that monkey off his back and get that first win of the season.
Qualifying happened here yesterday, so I feel like as we reveal the starting grid, we should bring back the Bulls theme music here since we're in Chicago. Front row, a couple of good ones. Denny Hamlin, 4th pole of the year next to Kyle Larson. He is so good on the mile and a half. A bit of a teammate theme when you look at the top 10. Row 2, all about RFK. Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski getting their best starts of the year. Row 3 from Joe Gibbs Racing, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell coming off those top 5 finishes last Sunday in Sonoma, California. Row 4, Chase Briscoe, a runner-up last week next to Bubba Wallace, best qualifier from 23:11. In row 5, it's all about Hendrick Motorsports, Chase Elliott, William Byron top 10 in every mile and a half race this year. And in row 6, A.J. Allmendinger next to Alex Bowman. Bowman won the last time we came to Chicagoland in 2019. Let's hear from Marty Snyder. What's going on, Marty?
Afternoon, Adam. Kind of fired up here in that Bulls music a moment ago, but it's time for what feels like a weekly health update with Christopher Bell after breaking that left wrist at Michigan a few weeks ago. The development this week is that the cast is now off. Bell is in a splint. But as he told me yesterday, it doesn't really feel any different inside the car. He has no mobility with that left wrist, and it's, quote, still funky to drive the car. But remember what Bell did last week. Drove up through the field, finished 5th at Sonoma, an incredible performance. Steve picked him. We'll see if Bell can deliver today.
Continuing the starting grid in row 7, you have the 45 of Tyler Reddick driving the Dork Brand Toyota alongside the 12 of Brian Blaney and the Menards Dutch Boy Ford. Back in row 8, the 77 of Carson Hocevar in the Ziegler Auto Group Chevrolet. It's Huntington Beach, California, Zane Smith, the number 38. Row 9, Jonathan Minchik in the number 42 Ray Dollar General Toyota, and then the 35 of Riley Herbst from Las Vegas, Nevada. Row 10, Ross Chastain, and the number 1 Busch Light Labor Showdown Chevrolet. In Berlin, Connecticut's Brian Freese in the number 60, and then row 11, Connor Zillage, Red Bull Chevrolet. In Pryor, Michigan, Derek Jones in the 43, and then row 12, the 2 of Austin Cindric, PPG Ford, and the 47, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Pylon Aviation Chevrolet. Let's get down to Danielle for more. Tyler Reddick.
Dale, Denny Hamlin is our points leader for the first time this season, and Tyler Reddick is only 1 point behind him. This is an intense battle. Who wants the regular season championship more with just 8 races left in the regular season? Tyler said, I'm not losing any sleep over this battle. The only time I lose sleep is when my kids wake me up in the middle of the night. But he did say it is a fun battle. Billy Scott, his crew chief, said the same thing. He said, guys, we have the same cars. We share all the same data. So it's going to come down to who wants it more and who can execute down the stretch. He said, this is a pressure cooker, no doubt. And Denny has a slight advantage at the start of this race. He's on the pole. We qualified 13th. We don't want him to get too many more stage points than we have for a race.
Thank you, Danielle. Continuing with the grid in row 13, a pair of Chevrolets, Austin Dillon from RCR, and Daniel Suarez from Spire. Row 14, Ty Dillon and Corey Heim. Looking back to row 15, Todd Dillon next to last week's winner out in Sonoma, Shane Van Gisbergen. Back in row 16, a pair of Fords, we have Joey Logano and Noah Gregson. Row 17, Cole Custer and John Ferry. Back in row 18, we have Austin Hill and J.J. Haley. And then row 19, Cody Ware. And the 71 of Michael McDowell, who did not get to make a qualifying attempt. Shannon.
Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about 3-time Cup Series champion Joey Logano, who has dropped all the way to 20th in points, the lowest he's been all season. So my question to Logano was simple. What is going on with the 22? He kind of shrugged, kind of laughed, and said, we're just off. That continued this weekend. He bottomed out both ends of the track in qualifying. He's starting 31st. He told me we don't have a lot of time to waste. And of course, that's in the race today and in the regular season as well.
It's been a head scratcher for driver 22 in 2026. And tonight we moved around to the in-season challenge. Some really good matchups when you look at the Sweet 16 for more. We welcome in Mamba Smith. How's your bracket doing, Mamba?
Mine is not good, boys. Mine is in the trash already. Happy NASCAR Sundays on a beautiful patriotic weekend. I'm right beside Ty Gibbs, our in-season challenge champion from last year, looking to go back-to-back and get another $1 million. But he's going to have to go through his teammate, Chase Briscoe, who's coming to form the 19 car, starting to make his way back up the points and showing a lot of speed. Now, talking about coming to form, Team Hendrick. We have not seen them be dominant as we're used to. Well, we have 2 of them in this week's challenge. 5 of Kyle Larson, 24 of William Byron. 200 cars will enter. 1 can leave and have a chance at $1 million. Boys,
It's great when all the team cars advance. It's bad when they go head-to-head.
Yeah.
You know someone is going to be eliminated. Let's look now at our race analysis.
Yeah, 267 laps, broken up into stages, 80 laps, then 85 laps, then 102. They can run about 65 to 70 on fuel. They probably will not. They'll break the stages up pretty well in the middle with 8 sets of tires. Surprisingly, the tires not wearing like we think on the old pavement, but we'll just have to see as the sun goes down.
What are we watching for in this race, Dale?
Well, I'm going to start with changing the track, right, Dale? Like, I think we're going to work, as a crew chief, I have to stay ahead of the setting sun, communicate with my driver if that groove moves around, what you need from behind the wheel. I'm going to be paying attention to who might be able to challenge Toyota. It's been a story of the season that Toyota.
Man, it's awesome. Acting especially on the 4th of July weekend, happy birthday, America. I was just really cool. So you're circling in. Hopefully the parking lot is not too bad. Thanks for toughing it out. 5 team, we got 400 miles ahead of us tonight. Go get it.
Cliff taking all mine the 6 field. I'm going to weekend.
There you go. 4th of July weekend, Chicagoland Speedway back in the schedule. A sellout in Joliet. Great to see. Here we go. Lap 1. Headed to the green. Denny Hamlin on the pole for the 4th consecutive oval. Can he go back to victory lane again and get career win number 65? Green flag is in the air and we're underway. Great initial start by Denny Hamlin as he's going to be well out ahead of Kyle Larson into the first turn. Couple cars down to the apron going 3 wide in the middle of the pack towards turn 1. Now 4 wide for 1 row of it. And very tight as they funnel up out of turn two. Couple cars get together in a round. Go two of them. Ryan Preece has spun down the back straightaway. Another car beelines for the inside retaining wall. And it's Connor Zilic again. This is getting unbelievable at this point. Connor Zilic involved in another opening crash.
The frustration out of Zilic, the youngster in his
Wow.
they benched it.
Even
And this-
getting that first career
his
top
career,
10
we
last
can go
week,
and
it
see
just
Nolan
still
build on that.
can't.
Fortunately, back to the ovals is back to the bad luck for Zilic.
Get it going.
He has
My
missed
goodness.
so many laps with early accidents. Today is going to be the same, and that's really the problem. As the youngster tries to get more comfortable in the Cup Series, not running laps is not helping. And you just feel like eventually the tables will turn. Eventually, he'll be able to put some races together. But I mean, these incidents are happening in lap one, lap two of the race. So Connor on the inside here, right against the bottom of the racetrack, Preece up high a little bit. But a lot of three-wide action right there, and a little contact with the outside wall. Like that example, Connor has nothing to do with it, right? They wreck in front of him, and he gets collected. Yeah, Preece had to kind of check up and move down, and makes contact with the 88, spins him out. Let's see who that is that gets in the wall. Looks like the raid car, John Hunter Nemechek, squeezes somebody into the outside wall coming up off of turn two. It was a dark colored car. I couldn't make out the car number either.
I think about Zilic this weekend doing double duty. Started on the pole in the O'Reilly race last night. Wins the opening stage. Then has a fuel problem, had a tire issue, has spun out. Ended up finishing 10th, but over before it starts tonight as he makes hard contact with that inside wall.
Right with Eric Jones. Right, 47. Biggest get out here is gets squeezed into the wall by John Hunter Nemechek. So Stenhouse with some right side damage. I'm with Cindric here. The 43 gets into the back of Preece and turned him around. I thought Preece had made a move to the left, but he got ran into the back of and spun.
What's up, Danielle?
Right now, Connor Zilic's crew chief, Randall Burnett, was asking if they could get on the DVB clock and try to get it fixed. And Connor said, man, I can't get my wheel to turn anywhere. I'm not sure we're going to be able to fix this thing. So obviously, Connor Zilic is going to be done for the day, Marty.
And Danielle, Ryan Preece kind of stuck on the track trying to get the tow truck to pick him up as well with the flat front tires. He said nothing like us going 4 wide on lap 1. So kind of frustrated with what happened for Ryan Preece. And remember, Adam, this is the team that's 15th in the chase standings as he limps his way back to pit road, just plus 13 above the cut line. So an early setback for the 60 bunch.
So the 60, because he's being towed, will be taken to the garage and put some tires on it. He'll probably continue. The 88 can make repairs. Obviously, it'll cost him a ton of laps, but he'll not be a contender.
Didn't know what to expect. Aggressive lap 1. And we have our first yellow of the night. Connor Zilic.
Rookie season from hell continues for Connor Zilic on opening lap crash again. As he's been involved in a lot of accidents that have happened in the first couple laps of a race on ovals as of late. And another one here today, and just wrong place at the wrong time. He was stuck on the inside of 4 wide. Crash happens just in front of him in the outside lanes. Couples of cars slide down the track, one of which being Ryan Preece, who ended up going for a spin, making contact with Zilic, sending Zilic to the inside retaining wall head on. Pretty hard impact there that will end Zilic's day early. And for Ryan Preece, he'll get towed back into the pits with a couple flat tires. He's going to fall a few laps off the lead lap. We'll see if Preece can recover. 15th in points coming in. Neither one of those two were still in the in-season tournament challenge for the second round. So as far as the battle for $1 million goes, not going to affect him at least this week between the two of them. Pete Creamer, thanks for tuning in as well. All part of the learning process. Yeah, I guess. I mean, unfortunately, on the learning side of things, there's nothing he could do to learn to kind of keep this from happening, at least this week. You know, there's been instances like at Michigan where he had a couple of spins in the opening couple laps, maybe trying to get a little bit too much out of his car too early when it's not handling well or doesn't quite have the feel for the car in that heavy traffic on that fast of a racetrack. But I mean, here at Chicagoland, crash in front of him going 4 wide on the opening lap. There's just nothing Zilch really could have done different there. And when you're a rookie, you just want to complete as many laps as you can to get the experience necessary. So when you come back to that said track later in the season or year 2, if it's a track we don't return to a second time in the year like Chicagoland, you build a notebook and can just kind of build setup wise, what do I need for next time? This is what we used before. We don't know because he didn't even complete a lap here this weekend. So that notebook's going to be wide open when he comes back to Chicagoland next year. So in Michigan next year because he had issues there. Pocono, he crashed early. And now a crash on lap 1 in Chicagoland. Had a good run going, crashed out at San Diego when he was restarting on the front row in stage 3. So, I mean, just unbelievable. Finally got that first top 10 of his career last week in Sonoma and actually got a good race from start to finish in. But this week, more of what we had seen before last week.
Orange, lemon, or peach using the hashtag Bush Flavor Showdown. Where's Mamba?
You never know where I'm at. We're on pit road. There he is. Smith Big Z, welcome to NASCAR. I heard you've been before, but this is your first time to Oval. How is it going so far?
It's going great, man. I'm getting a great experience from everybody, man. I got a chance to stop at Jordan Pit, man, and a couple others, Progressive. My kids here with me for the first time, man, so I'm excited to be here.
Who are you pulling for this weekend? Whose number are you trying to see in victory lane?
You already know, 45, baby. 45.
4 or 5, man. Appreciate you coming out. You're looking great. Your family's awesome. I never know who you're going to see down here, fellas.
There you go.
I love it. Right.
So the 60, just to clean up how the rules work, if you can't drive back under your own power and you have to go with a record, you are automatically hauled to the garage area, to basically an area NASCAR's roped off. They brought Priest in there. It seems silly, but the rules have to be the same for anyone. They don't want tow trucks on and off pit roads, so they take them to the garage. The team had to run in there with a set of tires, change tires, and the 60 will return.
So let's try this again. A little rinse and repeat after the crash that happened on lap 1. Front row one more time. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. And Hamlin again taking the inside lane. Boy, what a jump he got at the initial start to take over the race lead.
We haven't even mentioned, remember the 71 of McDowell has to make that pass through because of inspection issues. He hasn't had the chance yet because we didn't run a lap. So watching for that.
Pace cars in. And Larson making their way to the restart zone.
All right, Denny Hamlin going to try to do what he did on the initial start, get that great launch, and get clear of Kyle Larson before even getting into the first turn. Kyle Larson going to stay with the 11 car a lot better this time around as we're back to racing. Outside lane was the preferred line in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race on restarts yesterday, so quite surprised Hamlin takes the bottom in these first 2 starts, and it's going to cost him this time because Kyle Larson's going to have the lead down the back straightaway. Hamlin is going in a reverse facet as Chris Buescher in the 17 going to get clear for second as well. Hamlin trying to hold on for a spot. 3 wide and tight, a couple rows of it. 4 wide again on the front stretch as we complete our opening green flag lap of the race. So this 4 wide battle is inside the top 10 and still 4 wide down into turn 1. Carson Hocevar, car down on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make those bold maneuvers. Maybe no surprise there. Getting by the likes of Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, and his teammate Daniel Suarez. Pass-through penalty for Michael McDowell after not being able to participate in qualifying yesterday because of some inspection issues. Going to cost him that drive-through on pit road with this opening green flag lap being complete now. So he's going to struggle to try to stay in the lead lap for a while, as those leaders are not going to be all that far behind him. McDowell getting up to pace, only a couple seconds ahead of the leader Kyle Larson entering turn 3 this time. So Larson leads the first few green flag laps of the day. The first handful of laps that were complete under caution. We had 5 laps under yellow with the opening lap crash. Denny Hamlin led all of those. Top 10 in the running order as we get 10 laps into the going. Kyle Larson is out in front with Chris Buescher in second. Denny Hamlin third. Christopher Bell fourth. And Bubba Wallace rounding out the top 5 in fifth. William Byron sixth in sixth place. Tyler Reddick in seventh. Ryan Blaney eighth. Chase Elliott ninth. And Chase Briscoe is now 10th. Showing a replay of 4 wide. It was nearly 5 wide when Hocevar made that dive towards turn 1. They were already 4. Luckily, Blaney just got clear in the middle lane of what would have been 5 wide, and again ended up being 4 when Hocevar got to the bottom of the racetrack with that dive bomb maneuver. That battle was all for around 9th place at that time. Austin Cindric trying to pull up clear on, I believe, the 7 of Daniel Suarez for 13th. Nearly pinching Suarez into the wall up out of turn 4. Not a lot of grace between those two cars. Cindric doesn't need an incident early on. He comes in 16th in points, and with Priest having the early struggles, if he can just put together a decent run today, he's going to move up at least a spot in the standings and try to give himself a little bit more of a buffer into these final 7 races of the regular season. Hocevar making moves still. 3 wide to the bottom of the track. Underneath Alex Bowman in the 48, the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger. Gets by both cars into turn 1. They're pan out for him. Denny Hamlin trying to play catch up with the top 2 in front of him. Nearly gets to the inside of Chris Buescher through turns 3 and 4. Great momentum off the high side, though, by Buescher. Pulling Hamlin and reeling in Kyle Larson for the lead just in front of him on the front stretch. Buescher to the bottom of the track now into turns 1 and 2 as Larson may be struggling just a bit. Now that we've gotten more than a handful of laps into the run as both the 17 and 11 are fastly gaining on Larson. Buescher going to that middle to upper group through 3 and 4 again. Worked out well for him last time. He may have a shot at Larson down into turn 1 as we come to lap 15. Buescher drafting behind Larson through the tri-oval. Now aggressive moves by Larson to try to break that said draft. Buescher will back up turns 1 and 2. Go back to the outside on that end. Didn't quite get through the outside lane in 1 and 2 like he was through 3 and 4. Gave up a little bit of ground to Larson. Hamlin to the inside. And Denny looking to take over second once more. Hamlin wraps the inside of the racetrack, but can't get clear. Buescher out of turn 4. They're still side by side for second place. Hamlin not ultra aggressive with the side draft, but he does stay alongside the 17 into turn 1 still. Shortest way around the track. Now going to slide up in front of Buescher, and Hamlin up to P2. Buescher gets tight off turn 2, though. Once he got in the wake of Hamlin's dirty air, Christopher Bell in the 20 car is now going to the inside and striking for Buescher in a third place battle. Very next lap. Buescher got to get back in rhythm again here. 3 top 10s on the first 4 mile-and-a-half track ovals this season for Chris Buescher. A 6th, 10th, and a 5th place finish across Las Vegas, Kansas, and Texas. And he's got the 3rd best mile-and-a-half track average finish this year. Not counting Atlanta on the hybrid mile-and-a-half of the drafting oval, just the traditional mile-and-a-half ovals. We've had 4 of them so far this year, all in different racetracks, this being the 5th. Your cookie cutters, if you will. Was once a cookie cutter. We had a lot of them on the schedule. Not as much the case anymore. Most of those tracks we only go to once throughout the season. Denny Hamlin to Kyle Larson and closing fast. Longer the run goes, the better and better Denny Hamlin's car gets on long runs on high tire wear racetracks. We've seen that over the last month or so. And here at Chicagoland, a very old surface that hasn't been repaved in well more than a decade. Hamlin to the inside of the track through 3 and 4. Larson running his Larson line. Maybe not all the way up near the wall, as close as Larson would tend to get. Maybe later in the race, that line will move up a bit. He was running about a lane off of it, but still, Hamlin wrapping the bottom of the racetrack seems to be the fastest line for the 11 car, and it's the fastest line that anybody's able to put together so far in the race. First lead of the day under green flag conditions for Hamlin. Second lead total, considering he started on pole. Lost the lead on that second restart. We were not able to complete a green flag lap on lap 1 before the Connor Zilic and Ryan Preece accident after running 4 wide up out of turn 2. But again, Denny Hamlin back out in front. So Hamlin leads. Kyle Larson now 10th of a second back at second place. Chris Buescher 6/10 back at third. And within a second of the lead also is Christopher Bell in fourth. 1.6 seconds out of the lead for Bubba Wallace at fifth. Tyler Reddick is up to 6th place. 9 positions gained from the start for Reddick already to get to 6th. He's 2 seconds back. William Byron 2.6 seconds back at 7th. Ryan Blaney 3.1 out of the lead in 8th. Chase Briscoe 3.6 back at 9th. And Chase Elliott 4.5 seconds out of the lead, rounding out the top 10. So biggest gainers since the last restart, easily Tyler Reddick up 9 spots. Nobody else is up more than 5. And Tyler Reddick started this race in 13th place. Fell back on that initial start, restarted 15th, and is now up to 6th and quickly battling with his teammate Bubba Wallace currently for 5th place. Quarter of the way through stage 1. Alex Bowman, AJ Allmendinger on track battling for position with a side-by-side commercial break airing on TNT at the moment, which is visually where you can watch today's race. And Bowman will complete that pass on AJ Allmendinger. That battle is for 16th. Those two have been battling back and forth with each other really since the start. Both drivers have lost a few positions from the beginning of the race, but still sticking with one another. Oh, I just remembered. I got to get a poll up in the chat for who you think is going to win. Who will win at Chicagoland? And I'll put my favorites for the win up there. Got Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell does look pretty good here early on. Tyler Reddick probably looks a little bit better, getting all the positions he has. So we'll put Tyler Reddick in the chat as well. So your voting options are between Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, or Christopher Bell. Because I didn't have the chat up before the start of the race, I will leave that open until we get to 50 laps to go. Usually I close it at the end of stage 2, but you'll have until 50 to go to vote for who you think is going to win tonight.
Three-time champ back in 26 right now.
Christopher Bell has gotten by Christopher Buescher in the Battle of the Christophers. Now Bubba Wallace with that 23 car head speed in practice. All the 2311 cars were fast in practice. 4 of them in the top 6. The speed was incredible. He's starting to close the gap a little bit too on Buescher.
CB versus CB, huh?
Yeah. It's gonna be tough to hold these Toyotas back, but you can tell that Fords and the Chevy are slowly finding it. We heard on the pre-race earlier, Larson said he has confidence they can get there.
And I think getting there and qualifying is kind of early indications. And I don't want to use the word easier, but it's more in front of you. 1 lap speed, you can cover up some other deficiencies. It's the long run where if you have some aero deficiencies or some other things that you start abusing tires that kind of show up. So qualifying was a good maybe idea of what we might see. This is 23 above the Wallace, but watch how well it runs around the bottom. I mean, he just turns left, easily drives to the left side door of the 17 of Buescher, a little in the back right there, but able to stay with the power.
I mean, when you dance like that, you can hang on to it, gather it up, and move on. An indicator that over the course of the night should be in a pretty good space.
Buescher's going to make this a tough one, though. He's fighting hard on that outside, and that's what this track provides is multiple grooves and Car on the high side is going to have the momentum every time on the straightaway. It's going to be hard to make this pass on the bottom, and there you see the car struggling on the right side of the screen. 23 just trying to, he can't open the wheel up. He can't really get in the throttle and finish the corner. 17 with a milk bullet right there. They're driving them. They're driving all of them. They are not stuck. Nope. Which I was shocked with Larson's comments on the pre-race about the perception of speed, because the cars are moving around, and normally you think about that as cars that are sliding, but he was very adamant that it feels like they are hauling the mail around here.
Get an update. 23, Bubba Wallace fifth right now, Danielle.
Yeah, Adam, he said he needs some front end help, and we're hearing from several Toyotas that the bottom lane is still the preferred route. Tyler Reddick is being told that by Billy Scott. Ty Gibbs, crew chief, said the track is not widening out yet. Don't go up there.
Yeah, you kind of run the high line as a defense more than anything. When no one else is really up there running it, it's not the fastest way around the track. But if you're trying to keep a spot, it's absolutely the place to go, because it's going to be difficult to pass you on the bottom of the racetrack as opposed to the top.
What's going on, Marty?
Adam, classic Denny Hamlin so far here at Chicagoland. Restarts just okay, but that long run pace always seems to be there for the 11 team. So, Steve, you can see bright sunshine here in Chicago right now. But this race will finish at night. So my question is, when practice at night, how much will the track change? And as a crew chief, where do you go with adjustments, and how do you migrate your car throughout the race to be right when the checkered flag flies?
Well, the track is absolutely going to change as the sun sets and it cools. It used to be very straightforward. In the O'Reilly race, you see all those cars free up. That was pretty much written in everybody's notebook. As the track cools, you get looser. In the last couple of years, between the tire combinations, as this battle continues, we have the yellow on the racetrack. Oh, Zane Smith.
Yeah, making his 100th career start, brings out second caution flag of the night.
Yeah, so just to finish that thought, when I kind of quiz the garage, I got varying opinions on what the track may be. So I think that will determine who's going to be good at the end of this race, is who stays ahead of the track. Right side roof flap up on the 38s. We definitely had spun around.
Got a little bit of contact, some damage to the right rear quarter panel. It looks like there you see the damage. It's got a little sideways. It's got the right rear up against the wall in the middle of turns 1 and 2. I don't think he went all the way around. Got the car back under control, but there is some damage to the right rear quarter panel and tailpiece.
Yeah, you see the roof flap up, also the diffuser flap. Let's see what happens. Oh, contact stacked together here.
Yes, sir. Somebody was not happy with something. Oh, wait.
Reservoir.
In the 77.
Both drivers making career start 100 and connected at the hip here.
Yeah, well, 200 starts just slid up the hill together. Man, I think there's got to be some more to this story. I wonder how they ended up in that situation. Let's take a onward.
It's pretty hard contact.
That
Right
is.
side. Something happened.
Just got into him.
Wonder if something had been going on multiple laps before that. I didn't notice anything looking out on the racetrack over the last couple of laps, but I know also that this has been a thing for a couple of weeks, maybe between these two, if I remember correctly.
Well, they were head-to-head last week in the opening round of the in-season challenge. Hosts of our able to advance.
And this right here, completing lap 34, will be a busy time on pit road. Lots of cars on the lead lap. Going to have to be very clear, communicating with your driver when you could come, when you could go. Remember, Larson lost his pit pick. They left Joey Logano coming around, and we'll have to see if that develops into a story.
Denny Hamlin leading them down. Here's Shannon.
Yeah, let's watch this number 5, guys. Remember, he lost his pit selection because of failing inspection, so he will have a car in front of him. They got to come a little bit further back in that pit stall so that he can angle that nose to get out. Marty?
Right progress for Chris Bell. The car feels really good, just a little bit too free. With Chris Buescher, the opposite issue, so the car was too tight. Kind of the opposite of how they were in practice. Lee Hamlin to the vibration. Interesting, Brand. 1 and 2 considered, but 3 and 4. He needs to be tightened up in that section of the track. And the 11th full serve here on pit road comes in.
Denny Hamlin going to win the race off pit road ahead of Kyle Larson. And so the top two in the pits For the top two in the racetrack before the caution came out, contact between Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, bringing out our second caution of the day in the first half of stage one. Zane Smith running over Hocevar, looked like, going down into turns 1 and 2. The lap that the caution ended up taking place. Well, that's very interesting. I want to see if the TNT booth and crew could try to figure out maybe what was going on between Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar and laps that might have led up to that. Roz Gary Williams, thanks for tuning into the stream also. Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in. Connor Burke. Many others. Thank you, everybody. Sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our goal is going to be to try to get to at least 100 likes on tonight's stream. And in the early going of the stream itself, we are sitting at 55 likes. We got about 135 concurrent viewers watching in the chat. So again, greatly appreciate all of you tuning in here this evening. Our live commentary coverage continues. We'll take our first break, and we've got a restart coming up midway through stage one. Northwest Arizona, thanks for tuning in. As well as many others. Caution out for the second time today after contact on track between Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar. So restart will be upcoming. In the race off pit road, Denny Hamlin is now the leader still. Kyle Larson second still. Christopher Bell third. Chris Buescher fourth. Bubba Wallace in fifth. Actually, let me refresh the page here because I think that has to update. All right, leaderboard in the race off pit road. Denny Hamlin leads. Kyle Larson second. Christopher Bell third. Then William Byron fourth. Chris Buescher fifth. Chase Briscoe 6, Bubba Wallace 7, Tyler Reddick 8, Chase Elliott 9th, Ryan Blaney now rounds out the top 10. Then Ty Gibbs at 11th, and Brad Keselowski has fallen to 12th after starting inside the top 4 at the beginning of the race. Zane Smith coming back onto pit road for some more adjustments after being involved in that spin. And we shall see what's going to happen here. Carson Hocevar still alive in the in-season tournament challenge, head-to-head with Todd Gillen this week, teammate of Zane Smith. Oddly enough. One front row car taking out a Spire Chevy in the matchup that could allow for maybe Gillen to advance this week. There's damage for Hocevar, but I think he is still at least on the lead lap and able to continue. Looking at it right now, Hocevar is still scored on the lead lap. Michael McDowell gets the free pass, being the first car one lap down, I do believe. If it was not him, it was J.J. Yaley, and Yaley's already gotten his lap back, which I believe actually is the case as we're set to go green this time. So J.J. Yaley was the last car, first car lap down to get the free pass. Michael McDowell had to take that pass-through penalty at the start of the race today. He is a lap down to begin this next restart. Ryan Preece on track 5 laps down with the flat tires after his spin with Connor Zilic on lap 1. And as for the 88 of Zilic, out of the race following that first crash. So Hamlin and Larson on the front row, yet again, just as they were the initial start, the first restart. Now for the second restart, Denny Hamlin will take the outside of row 1. He was on the inside the first 2 times. Green flag back in the air. Hamlin learning from his mistake of taking the bottom maybe the last time. We'll see if he can best Larson this go around. He's got his Toyota teammate Christopher Bell giving him a push out of the restart zone through the tri-oval, having to back off into turn 1. Hamlin with the advantage down the back straightaway on the high side, but Larson side drafts and holds door to door for the lead. Hamlin chasing Larson down the racetrack in a side-by-side effort still as Larson tries to get clear, and another great restart. Kyle Larson back to the lead again here in Chicagoland. Man, middle of the pack is just nutty with these restarts right now. We have seen nothing but 3 wide back there all race long on these short sprints. Hamlin tight in the dirty air behind Larson, had a big-time lift out of turn 2. Backs up both cars behind him, battling for third of William Byron and Christopher Bell. Byron on the high side. Bell down low near the bottom. Byron to third. Bubba Wallace in the 23 to the outside, sweeping by Bell as well for fourth. And now single file through most of the top 10 until a battle to the inside for second place into turns 1 and 2. Byron looking to get to the inside of Hamlin. One of the better runs of the season on the last oval for Willie B, as he had a top 5 at Pocono a couple of weeks ago. Trying to build off of that here today with some more speed early on. After qualifying top 10, he is now up to second as he gets by Denny Hamlin through turns 3 and 4. 2 Hendrick Chevys lead the way, first and second out in front of the field with 2 Toyotas. I should say 3 Toyotas in the next couple of spots to round out the top 5. Highest running Ford Chris Buescher now back to 8th place on the racetrack. And his teammate Brad Keselowski, the only other Ford inside the top 10 at the moment. 3 wide on track, Carson Hocevar trying to get back into things. Being extraordinarily bold yet again with his maneuvers. He had the dive bomb 3 and 4 wide in the first couple restarts. Right back to it after the spin moments ago. Following contact between he and Zane Smith. So Larson kind of struggled the longer that last run went, to the liking of where Denny Hamlin's race car was, where he was more dominant. Tyler Reddick made a bunch of passes in that opening run as well, and picked up 9 positions in between the caution number 1 and caution number 2. Reddick still back around 7th place on the restart and battling for 6th, as he's actually on the inside of Chase Briscoe, another fellow Toyota. Reddick slings to the bottom of the track, trying to keep pace with Hamlin early in the stages after losing the points lead for the first time last week at Sonoma. 1 point back, every stage point counts towards that regular season championship battle. So Hamlin out here leading laps early, currently in 3rd. Is besting Reddick early in the race. Reddick wants to do the best he can from here to try to keep up with that 11 and ultimately by the end of the race get in front of him. A little bit of cloud coverage as of right now, where the sun is stuck behind a giant cloud on the front stretch, causing the shading in the front stretch, but the back straightaway and entrance to turn 3 still in the sun. Both ends of these racetracks going to feel very, very different from one another for the next several minutes. In clean air, the leader's last lap of Kyle Larson, pretty good one, 31.133. Larson's fastest lap of the race, a 30.527. That was on lap 8. And that is still the fastest lap of the race so far overall. William Byron in 2nd place, but his fastest lap together on this restart at lap 40. Same for Bubba Wallace at lap 39, and Tyler Reddick at lap 39 as well. Out of the drivers up in the top half dozen in the running order. 34 laps to go in stage number 1. Again, 80 laps in this first stage. Top 5, Kyle Larson in the lead, William Byron 2nd, Denny Hamlin 3rd, Bubba Wallace 4th, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 5 and 5th. Larson's lead over Byron only a couple tenths of a second still, and Hamlin within a second of the race lead also. Going to see that tight battle that early on in this restart, kind of like he did on the last green flag run for the first 10 to 15 laps. Top 3 or 4 were in a tight battle. We've got a hard crash, it looks like, in turns I believe 3 and 4 for Austin Hill in the 33 as he has made severe contact with the back of his race car into the outside wall.
Said just wait. Said there might have been some contact.
Home game for Austin next week, going back to Atlanta. Been so good there in the draft at the O'Reilly level.
Owner Richard Childress, as he is each and every week, found a perch to watch the race. Talk about it. Man committed to the sport. Tell you, that last lap by the 11 of Hamlin was the fastest car on the track. It took 13 laps to run before. It seems like it takes about 10 for that 11 to get going. Another bit of cleanup work. The 71 of McDowell had his lap back under the previous yellow. And the 60 of Ryan Priest took the wave around to get to only 3 laps down. He should then get a free lap here to get to 2 laps down. So Ryan Priest, Derek Finley doing a nice job. Just keep swinging. Just never out of these races.
We got a replay here to see if we can find out what happened with the 33.
That's SVG. Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah, that's something.
Is that
Big
revenge?
contact right there?
San Diego?
That's really, really hard contact with this race car for Austin Hill. And I can't tell whether it's impatience because both of the last 2 accidents are very similar,
Or frustration from 2 weeks of horse racing.
That's right.
I mean,
Remember, the SVG and the 33 were kind of in the middle of that wreck. The big wreck at San Diego at the front of the field.
yeah, they sure were.
Car's pitting again, Shannon.
Yeah, the car for Kyle Larson's just been free during this race. The first pit stop, they did not take a big swing at it. They're not going to take a big swing this time either. Just 4 tires for that 5. Carlos is having a great run, Shannon, so far today. He said, we're in our window on balance. Let's keep it right here. So now to make sure that
Road, Daniel, happened right in the middle of pit road. Rhea Byron said short run for has a terrific turn. That's actually Todd Hamlin, who is backwards on pit road. Benny Hamlin said the car migrates way too free for me. I need to be tightened up. 4 tires for Hamlin, and you can see all those 2-tire decisions, Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought strategy could be a thing here because it hadn't been that long ago that these drivers had made a pit stop.
I've got him. Yep. Somebody coming out, one of the leaders, the 20 of Bell.
Oh, big contact.
Yeah.
It might not look bad, but that sort of contact on the front of the 20 can absolutely dislodge some ductwork. If it hit the tire, it can knock the toe out. Listen, hood stays pretty sealed against the hood. This would be a great view right here. Oof.
wow.
That looked like something the car's movie.
Eventful cycle of stops. 15 laps into stage 1. We'll reset, get a restart.
What a wild opening stage here in Chicagoland Speedway. Kyle Larson out in front of the field here. Actually, let me get a recap on that. Gotta wait for this leaderboard to update. Based off of the race off of pit road. Had a few 2-tire stops up at the front of the pack. Maybe several others staying out of the pits as well. Denny Hamlin, who was of the faster cars, leading 24 laps early in the race, is now going to be back at 22nd after a very slow 4-tire stop. Ryan Blaney also had a very slow pit stop as well. At 12 team, they're going to be back to 24th. So problems for the 11. Putting him back in the middle of the pack. Pit window for the stage point's going to be open in about 30 laps from now, so we'll see how these front runners are all going to try to hang on in there. Austin Cindric staying out of the racetrack. He is now the new leader for the first time today. Riley Herbst scored in second with Joey Logano third, AJ Allmendinger fourth, and Ty Dillon rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Cody Ware sixth, JJ Yaley seventh, Tyler Reddick in eighth, Chase Briscoe ninth, Christopher Bell in 10th. Now it looks like Cody Ware pitting a lap after everybody else pit. So let me go back through that again here real quick. Austin Cindric will be the leader. Riley Herb second. Joey Logano third. AJ Allmendinger fourth. Ty Dillon in fifth. Then J.J. Yaley sixth. Tyler Reddick won the race out of the pits with 2 tires in seventh. Chase Briscoe 2 tires is eighth. Christopher Bell ninth. Ty Gibbs 10th. Brad Keselowski 11th. And William Byron 12th. And I would imagine Yaley will pit before the restart, which would also bump Larson up now into the top dozen also. I like the in-season tournament challenge. They're opening going to the race. Carson Hocevar having problems already back in 31st, but now Todd Gillett spun around on pit road. That is a battle yet again between the 77 and 34. Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, both in the top 10. No shocker there for JGR. They've been on top of each other. Larson Byron running 1-2 for a short bit in their head-to-head matchup. They are now 12th and 13th for the restart. Michael McDowell against Chase Elliott. McDowell had to start a lap down basically in this one after the pass-through penalty at the beginning of the race. Ryan Blaney versus Shane Van Gisbergen. Blaney outrunning SVG so far today. Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell been right on top of each other from the start of the race. Right now, Bell leading the way in that battle despite contact on pit road moments ago. Austin Cindric staying out of the pits, the new leader in his battle with Alex Bowman, and Denny Hamlin against Derek Jones this week. Bad pit stop for the 11 team. They're going to be 21st and 22nd on the restart between the 11 and the 43.
We're back in the history books a little bit. That's where this rivalry at least got heated up. To the left of 33, into the 97 contact. This was at Pocono back in June. Direct for SVG to go around. Pretty big damage. And then the one I remembered, the one I mentioned, was this move. A mistake by the 33, and he admitted it, but the result's still the same. It's both Red Bull cars against Silich and SVG. A race that I think SVG was crushed to be knocked out of. So then let's go back to today. SVG in the corner. Left rear contact. Shift for 33 around. And then Austin Hill had some comments on the radio.
Oh, sorry for that.
Get to that point in the season, Dale. A lot of racing. You're starting to become more frustrated. You're going to see more and more of this. And the short track season right around the corner.
Oh, yeah, I got a bunch of them coming up.
I feel like that's been the case for both accidents we've seen today. Just a little bit of a past history there. The left car had a little bit of trouble on pit road, Marty.
Not so much trouble, Dale, just that they went with 4 tires instead of 2, and several teams decided to stay out under that caution. So here's what Denny Hamlin thought about that move from his crew chief. Listen in.
Yeah, where the money? Whatever.
Yeah, Dale, how different will the game be now for Denny Hamlin? Way back in traffic, he will restart all the way back in the 21st position.
Yeah, it'll be tough. They had to reject the car to make sure they got one of the wheels tight on the left side or the right side. And so cost him a little bit of time on pit road, and he comes out behind a lot of cars. Fast race car, smart driver, long way to go in this race. Then he's going to be just fine.
But if you look on the left side of the pylon, a handful of cars stayed out, 5 of them, which is really going to jam up restarts that have already been crazy.
5 stay out, 5 take 2 tires on 4. Wilmington Byron 11th prior to the cheers. Austin Cindric brings us to the green flag.
Interesting restart there. You see
Big time land rush down into the first turn. Yet again, a couple of rows of 4 wide. These restarts have been wild so far here tonight. And a battle up at the front of the pack, very tight as well, between Austin Cindric and it looks like Joey Logano, his Penske teammate, as they are both around that chase bubble. They're going to be vouching for every stage point they could possibly get, and obviously a huge factor into staying out of the pits during that last yellow flag as well. Drag race back to the start-finish line this time, and that lap was led, I believe, by Austin Cindric in the 2. Chase Briscoe in the 19 car, first of those that hit pit road, took right side tires only. in that last pit stop has made his way up to second place, bypassing Joey Logano through turns 1 and 2 on the second lap following the restart. Austin Cindric in the 2 car still out ahead. Splitting now around Riley Herbst, who also stayed out on the racetrack and did not pit during that last caution. William Byron in the 24, the 20 of Christopher Bell making their way through. Who will be the first to get to Austin Cindric? Cindric stayed out of the pits, but he does have the clean air advantage, still in the race lead. Joey Logano trying to hold on for any position he possibly can, already losing a few in the last couple of laps. William Byron takes away 4th, and now Kyle Larson trying to go for 5th on the 22. Big shot up the racetrack by Riley Herbst. Got very tight. That car was not turning as he went through the bumps on that end of the speedway. Bubba Wallace sweeps to the bottom, will get by his teammate in a pass for 7th. Still a long ways to go in this one. A few early cautions, slow pacing to start stage 1 of 80 laps, but this opening stage is almost done, and you can tell the intensity has been up from the opening lap of this one. Usually get those early crashes on like a lap 1 or lap 2 situation. It kind of sets the tone for the rest of the race, and that's kind of what we've seen so far. Few tempers flaring, it seems, between Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar on racetrack, and a similar incident to follow in the last caution between SVG and Austin Hill. Nobody is putting up with anybody's BS here tonight, or maybe payback from recent weeks for the likes of SVG. He and Austin Hill have had a history for more than just this year as well. They actually wrecked each other trying to go for a win at COTA in the O'Reilly Series last season, or in SVG's full-time year there. Back in 2024 was kind of their first run-in with one another, and kind of an on-again, off-again relationship between the two, and SVG trying to settle a score, perhaps, with Austin Hill. Hill definitely done for the day following his crash. Same for Connor Zilic from lap 1, or the 2 drivers out of the race. Ryan Preece in the 60, still a lap down in 36 after losing several laps from the opening lap crash, but he's nearly back into this thing. And with the end of the next stage coming, if nobody else falls a lap down the next 20 laps, he could be back to 1 lap down, as I believe actually he has shown 2 laps down and not 1 lap down, so I apologize for that. But looking to get at least 1 more lap back here, as long as nobody else falls off the lead lap. And if he's really lucky and we catch a caution before the end of the next stage, and then we hit the stage yellow with another restart in there somewhere, he'll actually be back in the lead lap into stage 2. That'd be the best case scenario for Ryan Preece. Not sure how hurt that race car is after having the 2 flat tires in that slide. Getting towed back into the garage area, I think, kind of helping him a little bit as far as maybe not going to have as much damage to the underbody and the diffuser of that race car, versus if he had to limp it around the track, or maybe had a push truck go out there and push him back around to the pits. Could have been dragging those parts and pieces a little more. Briscoe's been close to Austin Cindric. He hasn't been further back than maybe 3 to 5/10 of a second off the lead. He's still about 2 car lengths back into turn 1 this time by. It's kind of one of those things where I think if the Cindric ends up losing the lead, he's going to start to fall backwards in a hurry, but because he's got that clean air and has a decent enough handling car, can kind of get it pointed wherever he needs to try to mirror drive and block whatever the 19's maneuvers are going to be. And as he holds Briscoe back enough, Briscoe could be in danger of losing second place to the 24 of William Byron. Quite a few drivers up inside the top 5 without a win. In fact, of all the drivers in the top 5, none of them have won yet in 2026. Cindric on strategy, Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Larson all still winless also. You throw the 6th place driver, Bubba Wallace, in there. Riley Herbst, Chris Busch are the top 8 in the running order, actually have not won a race yet this season. Byron going to make a pass on Briscoe through 3 and 4 for second. Once those two got to battling with each other for the last lap or so, Cindric has pulled away just a brief moment. And we'll see if the 24 Byron can maybe close in on the 2 car a little bit faster. than what Briscoe was able to do. Red, white, and blue Penske paint scheme for the number 2 with the PPG colors. Well, 4th of July kind of paint scheme going on with that race car. So fitting it gets its time under the sun and leading on 4th of July weekend. Full field running order with 15 laps to go in stage 1 has Austin Cindric in the lead by about a half a second over William Byron. Kyle Larson is in 3rd at 1 second out of the lead. Chase Briscoe 1.4 seconds back in 4th. Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Then we got Bubba Wallace at 6th, Riley Herbst 7th, Chris Buescher 8th, Tyler Reddick 9th, and Ty Gibbs in 10th. Denny Hamlin 11th, Brad Keselowski 12th, Jonathan Nemechek 13th, Joey Logano 14th, and Ross Chastain 15th. Eric Jones 16th, AJ Allmendinger 17th, Chase Elliott 18th, Josh Berry 19th, and Alex Bowman in 20th. 21st, Noah Gragson, Ryan Blaney still buried back in 22nd, Austin Dillon in 23rd, Corey Heim 24th, and Michael McDowell 25th. 26th for Ty Dillon, Daniel Suarez 27th, Carson Hocevar 28th, Todd Gilliland 29th, and Cole Custer is 30th. 31st, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 32nd, Zane Smith 33rd, Cody Ware 34th, and J.J. Yaley still last car on the lead lap in 35th. On the track, 2 laps down for Ryan Preece in 36th, and Austin Hill and Connor Zilic out of the race 37th and 38th, respectively, for both drivers. Wallace just made a pass on Christopher Bell for 5th place moments ago. 11 positions gained from the restart for Bubba, most of any driver. 9 for both Larson and Byron to 2nd and 3rd place. Yeah, a lot of paybacks in this one, that's for sure. Still decent ways to go in this race. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's action. It's kind of weird. It was a side-by-side commercial for a little bit, and now all of a sudden it's gone to full screen in the middle of the ad break itself. I don't think I've seen that happen before. In the midst of that happening, Austin Cindric has just lost the race lead. And it looks like he's also lost 2nd place. Byron and Larson will get by the 2. William Byron leads, and Larson fastly approaching Byron now for the race lead himself. So that'll make for a lead change. Larson trying to get another one going. Byron took to the bottom of the racetrack on Austin Cindric. 1 corner, stayed with him down the backstretch and completed the pass in turns 3 and 4. 5 car looks to be a little bit stronger at this point in the run than the 24 of William Byron. He was running him down just a bit before the 2 cars had caught Austin Cindric for the top spot. Glenn Air being king, we'll see if Byron can hold on for 9 more laps to win this opening stage here tonight. Both these drivers have to be very hungry for a race victory. Hendrick Motorsports kind of turning the corner a little bit here over recent weeks on the ovals. Been far more competitive than what they were for the first third of the season. And they're catching up to the Toyotas right now. Ford's still ways behind, but HMS is hitting something clicking in the right direction. And for both Byron and Larson out in front, leading a bunch of laps like they are right now, it's almost kind of reminiscent to how they have been in the next-gen era up until 2026 between the 2 of them. Which is leading laps and contending for wins. Just as they are right now. Bubba Wallace getting by Chase Briscoe on track through turns 3 and 4. Pass complete for 4th. As Bubba moves forward, and he's outpacing the 2 car of Cindric, who's got older tires as well, so has a great shot to get up to 3rd before the end of stage 1. Larson, who was running down Byron the last couple laps, Byron better than Larson. Larson must have made a big mistake that last time by, because there was a lap time difference of about 0.4 of a second between the 24 and the 5 that last time by. Byron's had a top 10 in all 4 mile-and-a-half track races this season. Been very consistent on this style of oval. Hasn't been leading the laps that he would technically have led in the next gen era when it comes to a season to season basis. Only 42 laps led for Byron entering tonight. And he's led almost about that many in this first stage alone right now as he's sitting. Actually, no, he's sitting at 6 laps led. I apologize for that. Count that 8 laps led now, but he could end up doubling his total today. The speed that 24 car has had. Just got to execute. So far, they've been able to do so. Hamlin just now breaking into the top 10 after restarting back at 22nd. A very slow 4-tire stop for the 11 team, despite having that number 1 pit box. Quite a few drivers taking 2 tires, some staying out, but also losing position to those others that had taken 4. And that 11 car is still just as strong as ever. Trying to get whatever kind of points he can out of this. Tyler Reddick in the 45 car after a slower pit stop and a bad restart of his own. I think Reddick is actually still outside the top 10. Just barely in the rearview mirror for where the 11 is. Christopher Bell having a big loose moment on the middle groove of turns 1 and 2, not working his way through the bumps very good there. Had to catch the race car, loses several positions in 1 lap. As Tyler Reddick gets by on the outside, Brad Keselowski down on the bottom will get by as well. Hamlin in hot pursuit of his teammate Ty Gibbs now for 8th place. Reddick is up to 10th. They're making the pass on Christopher Bell. Hamlin clear for Gibbs. Now Reddick is going to have to try to keep up with Denny Hamlin by getting by Gibbs late in the stage also. Not let the 11 beat him by too many positions. Riley Herbst stayed out of the pits under that last caution. He's got older tires. I do believe Hamlin will be able to catch and pass him with a couple laps to go in the stage. He's got about a lap and a half to do it. But he's only about 3 car lengths off of Herbst. Final lap of stage number 2. Stage 1, excuse me. Thought Larson was going to have a shot to get by William Byron, but Byron's really started to take off over the last 5 laps or so of stage number 1. Job well done there. Byron works his way off turn 4, and by a little over a half a second will win stage 1 here tonight in Chicagoland. So how about that? William Byron wins stage 1 in Chicago. Kyle Larson 2nd, Bubba Wallace 3rd, Austin Cindric 4th, Chase Briscoe rounding out the top 5 in 5th, Chris Buescher 6th, Riley Herbst still 7th, Denny Hamlin did not get by him, and Hamlin ends up 8th in the stage, Ty Gibbs 9th, and Tyler Reddick rounding out the top 10. A little bit of contact up out of turn 4 between Josh Berry and Ross Chastain late in the stage in a battle that was going on for about 17th. Luckily, neither cars ended up in an incident there, and they kept going. Very subtle contact. Good job by Chastain keeping it off the outside wall as well. So a few incidents in stage 1. It was wild, but William Byron going to be able to conquer the opening stage in NASCAR's return to Chicagoland Speedway. 10 lead changes in stage 1 here tonight, just under an hour to get through the first stage. 4 yellows now with this lap 80 stage break, 15 laps of caution and counting. And again, William Byron, the stage 1 winner. You can vote for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. That will remain open until the end of stage number 2 usually, but tonight I'll leave it open until about 50 laps to go in the race since I did not open the poll until after the race began. Your voting options are between Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Tyler Reddick for the win. And right now, Kyle Larson at 30% of the votes leads the way between the three of them. Denny Hamlin at 28% and only 5% taking Reddick, who was looking better in the first run of the race, but that last run maybe not quite as good as he lost a little pace to some of the other Toyotas even in the running order, likes of Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin. Somebody other than those three for the win actually leads the chat poll, though, at 37%. India Sayre, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, another slow pit stop for the 12 of Blaney. Lost a couple spots on the first stop, and the second one was very slow. And unfortunately for Blaney fans, he doesn't look to have a great car tonight to try to bail him out either, so not good there. Don Brown, welcome to the stream. I don't think I gave you a shout out yet. Thanks for tuning in. And many others. Been a fun watch so far in this Sunday evening post 4th of July. Still the tail end of 4th of July weekend. Glad you have stayed tuned in throughout today's coverage. Just over an hour into the race as stage one has been completed. If you're just tuning in for the first time, it's pretty good action all around. 24 car of William Byron takes stage one. More pit stops to come. Some of these teams burning quite a few sets of tires with those early cautions in tonight's race. Seen quite a few pit stops already. Each of these teams had 8 sets of tires from the start of the race. And there are some that have used 3 sets already.
NASCAR Cup Series racing on TNT is brought to you by Frestree. Visit us at frestree.com. We're here in Joliet, Illinois. You know, the Joliet Correctional Center shut down in 2002, but way back the warden said, I want to make sure that we got good morale. So we started having the inmates play baseball as a way to build it. Well, the Joliet Slammers, an independent league team, they went out earlier this year and played a little exhibition. I love that. You know, one of the owners for the Slammers, Bill Murray. How about that? And we've got the MLB season heating up, and TBS has you covered all summer long. Watch the Yankees. Cover your eyes, Steve. Take it on the Rays Tuesday, 6 Eastern on TBS and stream it on HBO Max.
And only 14 games back for the Red Sox. Smith.
I just told you, don't look at the stand.
One game off of ball. Where you're up next. You're only 1 game ahead of us. Issue on pit road that NASCAR's had to stop and work on, so it's delaying this caution a few extra laps.
And pothole in the pits?
Yeah, that's a little surface of the track.
Yeah, something.
Which I will tell you, I hate that we're having this issue, but it looks like a big chunk of asphalt is just missing.
Yeah.
Walking around this facility all weekend, I'm going to give it to the NASCAR crowd. Julie Giese and everybody kind of helps oversee this racetrack. We could have raced here last year. I mean, the garage looked great. The grandstands look great. Mom, I've kind of walked the whole facility. It's hard to believe it's been dormant for 7 years.
Yeah, Stevie, I'm over in turn 3 right now. I think I figured out my favorite place to watch the race from. Just watching them go through 3 and 4, they look like they're on a roller coaster. And then behind me, it's kind of like the backstretch. We haven't talked about it much. There's a lot of characteristics of this place, but it's kind of a D shape, which isn't normal for most of our racetracks. It kind of reminds me, Dale, of the old Myrtle Beach Speedway. I raced there before. It kind of gives me a little Myrtle Beach vibes back here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to have a back straightaway shape like that. It's not really more trickier than anything else, but the way the sun sets here can blind you a little bit down the back straightaway. I remember that being difficult for turn 3, but fun little racetrack. You're always turning, kind of always either on the right rear or the right front tire. You rarely give the tires relief. You're always kind of fighting balance, tight and loose. It's a tough track.
Let's get a report. Chase Elliott with Danielle. What's happening there? Team number 9.
Well, it was a late night here at Chicagoland last night in the O'Reilly Series race. Chase Elliott and Brandon Jones were putting on one heck of a show in overtime. Brandon Jones got the best of Elliott. He settled for second there, said, Brandon drove a smart race. I wasn't going to race him too hard or get into him there at the end. He kept it clean, but he is hungry for his 3rd win of the season tonight, guys. Elliott started 9th. He has fallen to 15th, but the car is getting better. The latest he told his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, he said, it's not terrible. I feel like we missed it a little bit in that earlier run, just a little bit tight. but the balance isn't bad. They are slowly feeling like they're getting this car where it needs to be as we enter stage 2.
The nine's one of those teams that put on 4 tires back at lap 49 and just didn't make much of it, right? Byron Larson got to move forward. Elliott kind of just got stuck back there.
Danielle referenced that was a fun race last night. Delayed a few hours because of all the rain we had here yesterday afternoon, but once we went green, an electric race. Brandon Jones with a tremendous job, as Danielle said, in overtime, getting his first win of the year.
I tell you, one of the storylines for me that came out of that race was just how hard it is to choose, Dale. You and I have talked about this, which lane you want to be on the restart, how you restart. The leader didn't hold the lead. The leader who controlled the race didn't hold the lead on like the last 4 or 5 restarts. Like you were sitting ducking. I couldn't figure out top, bottom. It didn't seem to make sense where it was. The results were the same, but for different reasons.
That'll be a challenge also in stage 3 for these cars. Pit stops coming up.
Byron lead them down to Babayas Mode Pit Road. Here's Shannon.
Yeah, that 5 car starting to free up, but they are still working on entry and exit of this pit stall for the 5 car. They told him pit a little bit wider from the wall, and they even pushed their pit sign out a little bit. Meanwhile, Austin Cindric says driving too much through the right front in traffic, leaned hard on the right rear out front. Danielle, Bubba Wallace got 3rd place in that first stage. Charles Knight got on the radio and said, great job. He needed those stage points. Bubba said it's okay to sacrifice some front end grip to be a little better at the end of this run. Marty?
Stage win for Denny Ham, or after William Byron, however, he said that's a long time. I pushed the pace in the car so far, and when I push the pace, the turn gets, quote, lazy. I need a little bit more help on the long run.
Byron wins the race off pit road, +1 for Bubba Wallace. Larson lost a spot, +2 for Busher. And Cindric, after the cycle, comes off in 5th. Really good situation for that 2 team.
Yeah, Christopher Bell gave up a lot of spots, but I believe they're doing some repairs for that contact on pit road with Todd Gilliland.
William Byron wins the race off of pit road, and we will get to the next restart, which will begin stage 2 here shortly. Our live commentary coverage of tonight's race continues. The Eero 400 at Chicagoland Speedway. Is that Byron's first stage win since Las Vegas? That's a good question. On the NASCAR standings on NASCAR.com, they used to track stage wins on here, but since the playoff points aren't a thing anymore, they don't really track the stage wins. So let me click on Byron into points and see if there's maybe another statistical category there. No, yeah, it doesn't track it on NASCAR.com like it used to. So I can't confirm that. But yeah, I mean, he definitely hasn't been leading laps like he has been for most of the next-gen era. Pocono Raceway had a 3rd place finish, by far his best run in an oval as of late. It's still his only top 10 finish that he's had in the last 5 races coming into tonight. But he has finished top 10 on all the 1.5-mile tracks this season so far. A 9th at Charlotte, Texas in 8th, 7th at Kansas, and at Las Vegas he finished 3rd. Which ties his best run of the season, minus, of course, Pocono a couple weeks ago. So in the race off of pit road with William Byron winning that battle, he is back out in front. Bubba Wallace is up to 2nd place with Kyle Larson in 3rd, Chris Buescher 4th, Austin Cindric 5th, and Denny Hamlin up to 6th place. Chase Briscoe in 7th, Ty Gibbs 8th, Riley Herbst 9th, Tyler Reddick rounding out the top 10 with Brad Keselowski 11th and Chase Elliott in 12th. And we will be set to begin stage number 2 shortly. Yes, this is the first race at Chicagoland since 2019. Yes, it is. Robert?
and the race off the road to start stage 2. Burton, we talked about it in the 3 race. This place promotes theatrics. We didn't even get through 1 lap, and Connor Zilich's in the fence.
Things got started really early. Contact up front. That's stacked up. Ryan Priest and Zilich, you can see right here, 3 cautions, 6 leaders, 10 laps. Come on, I think it's going on. But Zilich with big contact. Priest is now 2 laps down. He's fought himself back. See right here, this is Connor Zilich's horrible rookie year. He'd love to forget it. 7 DNFs. Only 6 lead lap finishes. 4 DNFs, lead lap finishes. He's ready to get to the next race. Get it behind him.
It's been a terrible season for Connor Zilich. We've seen plenty of other action, though, as well. Right there, across the hill, gets sent by SVG. Entry to turn 3, we saw the same thing with Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar down on the other end of the track. It's been eventful, I think. A lot happening in stage 1.
Tempers are flaring, Adam. NASCAR is back.
Hey, that's right. I mean, it's like old school. One thing I want to pop here, Ryan Priest now 1 lap down, Jeff, referencing the fact he was 2, took the wave around here to get to 1 down.
Like that. I thought we were going to lose Marty. That crowd cheered at the first on camera, and he jumped up. I thought he was going to crowd surf right up in the back of the stage.
Maybe you're going to take a page out of your book. They'll in your donor when you won that race.
Ready for stage 2. Byron Wallace, front row.
All right, a Willie B, Bubba Wallace front row. Byron, despite winning the race out of the pits, takes the inside of row 1. That bit Denny Hamlin earlier. We'll see if Bubba Wallace can maybe take his first lead of the race on the outside of that front row. Green flag is going to be back in the air, and the 23 car hangs with the 24 for now into turns 1 and 2. But it will be the 24 Byron who is cleared through the center of the corner, moves up into the outside, and a great push from his teammate Kyle Larson that helped him down on the bottom when they initially fired out of the restart zone. Larson head-to-head right now with the 23 car of Wallace as they get into turns 3 and 4, but Bubba Wallace should be able to hold on and carry momentum up the high side. He's cleared for second. Denny Hamlin trying to battle back right now in a battle, that said, with Chris Buescher in the 17, who started in the top 5 as well here tonight alongside the 11. A lot of changes in the running order with a lot of strategy games being played in the back half of stage 1 with that late caution. No stops versus stops for 2 tires and stops for 4 tires. We got a William Byron, Bubba Wallace 1-2 battle up at the front of the pack. Wallace trying to keep pace with the 24. The 11 of Denny Hamlin trying to fire back after a slow pit stop and then getting to 8th by the end of the last stage. He makes a pass for 4th on Chris Buescher and finally completes that battle that was pretty intense from the restart as they were door-to-door for about 2 complete laps with one another. That 23 car, Bubba Wallace, has wrapped the inside of the track better than most drivers tonight. Really, the only one that has been just as good, if not better, has been Denny Hamlin in the 11. Wallace battling side by side with the 24 car on the front stretch. Beautiful side draft taking to the top of the track, and Wallace is clear up out of turn number 2. First lead of the day for Bubba Wallace. And Kyle Larson out to the inside of his teammate Byron for second place through 3 and 4. Can't quite get to the left rear corner panel. Was very close most of the way through the corner. Remember, Byron and Larson are battling in the in-season tournament challenge head-to-head with each other, and they have been pretty much within a position or two of one another this entire race through 94 completed laps this time by. Oh, Kyle Larson goes for a spin from 3rd place as he slides up out of turn 4, locks it down in the grass on the front stretch. Doesn't look like he's going to damage anything with the race car, but he is around and hopefully all the tires are up. Can't tell if they are or are not. But he does seem to be stuck in the grass, which is not good. Of course, had heavy rain yesterday afternoon into the evening hours. That delayed the start of the O'Reilly race, and Larson wants some help to get out of that said grass because of how damp it is, and he is probably going to fall off the lead lap because of it. It was a good start to the night for Larson. Car slipped out from underneath him, getting out of turn 4 that last time by, and couldn't make the save. AMR safety officials are working about as fast as I think I've ever seen them work, trying to get Kyle Larson's car out of the infield on the front stretch and keep him on the lead lap. I still don't know if he ended up flat spotting any of those tires when he was spinning, that maybe that could hurt him as far as being stuck and can he get back into the pits. If you're a Larson fan, you're hoping that there's no flat tires on that race car. They pull him up onto the asphalt, he can just drive away. Larson getting pulled. Back to the front stretch. Now he's got all 4 tires out of the grass. They're going to unhook the 5 car and try to keep Larson on the lead lap. Can he get the car refired? He's struggling. And I think the right rear tire actually looks flat on that race car. So they might have to hook him back up again. Now he's going to get a push truck. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I've ever seen the AMR safety crew work this fast to try to keep a car from losing too much time on the racetrack before. But like, usually they're just kind of going their regular pace. They are running. Like, they are legitimate running to try to get this 5 car back up and going again. Larson gets the push start. Unfortunately, he is dragging some parts and pieces underneath that race car back into the pits. He's going to have to go the long way around this 1.5-mile track oval, riding on the apron, as he does have a flat tire. So he's on the lead lap right now, but by the time he gets back into the pits and makes his pit stop, I think the leaders are going to be pretty darn close. This is going to be an intense battle. The Larson cam. Pace car is already working his way alongside Larson as he exits turn 2 on the backstretch. So Larson definitely going to end up going a lap down. But he was kept from losing multiple laps. Pit road probably not going to be open for the leaders this time by. I don't think we're going to see too many pit stops of 4 tires at least. And TNT finally showing a replay now of the Larson spin. It's right in the middle groove of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4, and center of the corner. Car just slipped out from underneath him from the rear, and around goes Larson. A slide into the front stretch. Luckily, when he ended up catching the grass, he had caught it already sideways, sliding backwards, that he didn't damage the splitter of his race car. Well, because of the rear tire, right rear specifically, being flat. And there you can see it popped right before he got into the grass. Other than that, though, didn't hit anything. Kept it well away from the outside wall. We'll see how this goes for him. Under the caution for the 5th time today, fork for incident in what has been a caution-filled Eero 400 at Chicagoland. Bubba Wallace, the current race leader, taking it from William Byron a few laps before the yellow came out. Byron sits in 2nd, Denny Hamlin 3rd, Chris Buescher 4th, Tyler Reddick in 5th. 6th place is Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs in 7th, Austin Cindric 8th, Chase Elliott 9th, and Riley Herbst round out the top 10. Larson has made his way back to pit road, so pit road should be open for the leaders this next time by. As Larson has gone a lap down with the spin that has happened. Longest winless streak of Larson's career, 42 races since his last Cup Series victory. Not counting the championship back at Phoenix last fall, where he finished 3rd place in that event to win the title. Pit road is open, but again, I wasn't expecting many takers, only running at about a half a dozen green flag laps before the Kyle Larson spin. back half of the lead lap, there will be quite a few cars coming into the pits, but in the top half of the field, most of which staying out. How many cautions we saw in that first stage? A lot of these teams using 2 to 3 sets of their 8 tires already. That was given to them before the start of the race. So not wanting to pit here, I don't blame them. I want to fall behind too many sets of tires before the final stage. Kramer taking Byron for the win. Definitely looking strong early. I think they got to get a little bit of work done for the 24 car on the very long run, but I think the first half of the run, pretty good. Because even when he's on a medium run, he was looking better than that of Larson, for instance, back in the last stage. I think the only cars better than Byron right now are the 23, the 11, and maybe the 45. Hamlin's the only Joe Gibbs Toyota that I've seen enough speed so far today that to me looks like they can win. Obviously, things can change as the track goes through changes itself, and we get more pit stops, more chances for adjustments for the likes of like Briscoe's been top 10 the whole race, Bell's been up near the top 10, and Gibbs for that matter. But they just haven't, to me, shown the ability to make quick, clean passes in traffic like the 23, the 11, and 45 have been able to do today. And Briscoe, when he was stuck behind Cindric on that last restart, just could not get by him, and 24, the 5 not only got by the 19, but it took so many laps for the 19 to try to make the pass on the 2 and ultimately ended up not even getting by him before the end of the stage. $81 likes on the stream. Our goal is to get to 100, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way. We're live every NASCAR race weekend for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series races. Next weekend, going to Atlanta, one of the more fun racetracks on the schedule. Honestly, with the next-gen car, pretty easily, I'd say the favorite of my super speedway style races. Reminds me of an old Daytona. Handling gonna matter. A lot of speed. And it's going to be a lot of fun, especially that summer date where they are just slipping and sliding in the hot Atlanta heat. More of that next weekend.
Lap will be in here as we restart 65 laps to go, stage 2. Update Connor Zillich, Austin Hill involved in those accidents. They have been released from the care center.
The 24 got the short run speed he had earlier. Briscoe to the top, trying to make it 3 wide around the outside of Reddick.
Restart's getting better and better.
Here comes the 24 Byron down the back straightaway, side by side with Bubba Wallace. Busher into third. Danny's struggling a little bit. Restarted third on the inside's already dropped back to 6th.
Mentioned Briscoe, that 3 wide move worked. He got all the way up. He's down in the 4th position.
Wallace able to jump in front of Byron, but Byron might make it work in that outside lane.
Baselli trying to get to the outside of Danny, won't be able to do it.
Look at this. I mean, 4 different lanes there basically through the...
Yeah, we'll get Nick Hisberg, a little kiss coming off the corner.
Fifth and 6 on track. Reddick and Hamlin.
And Danny trying to recover. Didn't quite get the restart he wanted. Here's the 97 car just missing the corner a little bit. Gets a little bit loose. Up into the fence. Danny taking the spot back on the left side of the screen for the 45. Danny's talking about how he needs to improve his restarts, and he's kind of done a good job of that over the last several weeks, but last one he's going to want back. And here's the 45 of Reddick fighting back. Short run speed on this 11 car. He kind of looks normal today, Steve. I think long run speed's there, though.
Yeah, I agree. Another name we haven't talked about, 48 of Bowman, right back there behind Chase Elliott. So those two Hendrick Chevys moving to the front. Hamlin finally clears the 45. That is going to be something we'll keep an eye on, though, Dale, right? The long run speed will put him there, but if we continue to get yellows late in these races, can he protect enough?
Look at the in-season challenge. A lot of good matchups in the bracket this week. About Larson having his problems and how that opens the door for William Byron, who's up there in second. And Steve, you just referenced Alex Bowman right ninth right now, racing Ty Gibbs for that position back there, just behind the top five and his teammate Chase Elliott, Danielle. Shannon, excuse me.
Yeah, the 48 of Alex Bowman, you just mentioned an in-season challenge against that number one of Tyler Reddick. We talked to him pre-race before he's the most recent winner here at Chicagoland. The team telling me he's all of that data out the window. So different with this new car. What's not different is the driver and his confidence. Blake Harris told me from the very first lap they saw that confidence in Alex Bowman. They tried to tell him what other drivers are doing, but they said, we just got to let him do his thing.
Think about the top 10 he posted last week to advance from round one to round two, and got to celebrate Eric Jones. Top 10 for the driver out of Byron, Michigan.
Another driver, glad to be back on the ovals.
Oh, yeah. And this style of oval, and you think about Jones and the success that he's had right here at Chicagoland, 2015, 2016, winning in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
19's come to life. Great move on the restart. Gave him a couple spots. Now he's going to try to march forward. And Busher won't go away. You know, we keep talking about all these different players, but 17 of Busher, quietly, methodically, just stays right in the mix.
A little bit tight right there for Bisco to the middle of the corner up the racetrack. A little bit of distance. There's a battle right here. Corey Heim, the 35.
You know, he's been quiet tonight, but 13th on the board after qualifying deeper in the field. Young driver, very impressive as you look at the number 2311. A couple of cars in the top 10, all of them inside the top 15.
Reddick struggling right here, losing a couple of spots to the HMS cars. Chase gets by as well, the 48. This is the race that Bubba Wallace was looking for. The one race where he was the bright spot for 2311. This 45 car looks like he's struggling a little bit. Even though we saw incredible speed out of him in track, this Reddick just not able to make it happen right now. The track could change tremendously, though, once the sun goes down. Trying to put a run together off the top here. Gets to the inside of 48 down the front straightaway. All this happened to the great battle starting to form for third between the 17 and the 19 that continues, and also Dick Hamlin's kind of calling into that battle as well. Ahead of these cars. There, Jones.
Yeah, the advent help on board. We'll start to see that sun coming a factor. Christopher Bell now getting by Shane Van Gisbergen, 23rd on track for CB, Marty.
Yeah, you got to go a long way back to check it on Christopher Bell. Remember that contact on pit road earlier with Todd Gilliland? They have hit several times to fix that damage. And here's what Adam Stevens told his driver under caution a couple moments ago.
That's asking if that was damage or tires. Not tires, all the tires are not a damage, so you appreciate the dump. One of those things we're going to have to work on it, not go backwards on this state.
Adam Stevens a little heated at himself, Steve, which as a leader you got to do once in a while. The damage was that the splitter was a little separated from the nose, but how about that veteran, Adam Stevens, saying, hey, that was my bad, and it won't happen again.
Yeah, so what is he talking about? The crew chief's job is to clear the driver at least one lane out of the pit box. The spotter can then take over. That contact with the 34 is on the crew chief. You have to say, as much as you don't want to, it's stop. You can't go. You can't go. Adam Stevens, a two-time champ, 41 wins and 402 starts. Over a 10% winning percentage on top of the pit box. He knows how to get it done, and that's why he's frustrated. He knows his driver has been gritting through a hurt left wrist. They're working their way back up at the points, and I think he knows with 8 races left, he wants to climb the chase standings. Mistakes like this are giving away a track that I thought they could potentially win at. He was my pick pre-race, and we'll have to just see how much speed's knocked out of the 20 car.
This battle here continues to brew between the 19 of Briscoe and Busher. Denny Hamlin just a few car lengths behind Briscoe, waiting on this thing to sort out, or maybe is it a chance for him to take both spots away? They can get up there and race side by side a little bit. Briscoe's car just looks a little bit tight. He's a little bit more turn. He dives to the bottom of the racetrack and want to wrap right around the bottom here. If you can. That's a pretty good job there because momentum's going to carry the 17 down the front straightaway and they draw even in the flag stand.
Saw Briscoe's dad down at the garage today. Great sprint car driver. Chase, a third generation guy, putting some really good runs together back to back. Runner up at Sonoma, getting it done here tonight around Busher up to third. Bubba Wallace in charge in his Toyota, closing on the midway point of stage 2. He's in front of Byron, Briscoe, Busher, and Hamlin. You're watching NASCAR on TNT from Chicagoland.
Your insurance with Liberty, and Save Hundreds.
Bundle your insurance with Liberty Mutual and save hundreds.
These are fun.
I know they are, but let's focus. Let's go again.
Leave my hair. Stubble and shave.
It's not it.
Bumble and save.
Bundle with an N.
Bumble and save.
Who gave them crackers?
Cuddle and wave.
You know, that's close enough.
Poorly paid for what you need. They'll tell you who you are.
What you can't do.
Where you don't belong.
Right people at your side. You write your own story.
You don't wait for success. You chase it. Sharper, tougher, faster. It's every
Bubba Wallace still stands with a 1.4 second lead over William Byron in the 24 cars. We near the halfway point of stage 2 here at Chicagoland Speedway. Chase Briscoe sits in the third place position with Denny Hamlin in fourth. Chris Busher fifth. Chase Elliott in sixth. Seventh place run for Tyler Reddick. Ty Gibbs eighth. Alex Bowman ninth. And Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. 11th place currently is Eric Jones with Riley Herbst 12th, Corey Heim 13th, John Hunter Nemechek 14th, and Austin Dillon 15th. Brad Keselowski in 16th place, Daniel Suarez 17th, Ross Chastain 18th, Ryan Blaney 19th, and Josh Berry in 20th. 21st, AJ Allmendinger with 22nd, Christopher Bell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 23rd, Ty Dillon 24th, and Shane Van Gisbergen in 25th. Joey Logano, 26, still struggling today with Todd Gillen, 27th, Carson Hocevar, 28th, Cole Custer, 29th, and Michael McDowell, 30th. 31st, Noah Gragson, Ryan Preece, 32nd, Zane Smith, 33rd, Cody Ware, 34th, and J.J. Yaley, 35th. Kyle Larson, first car off the lead lap. He is a couple laps down after that last spin in 36th. And then 2 cars out of the race, 37th, Austin Hill and Connor Zilic in 38th. That rounds out the full field running order. 5 cautions, 1 in stage 2 so far, 3 of them in stage 1, the stage break at lap 80. About an hour and a half into this race so far. We're nearing halfway as we are at lap 121 of 267. 13 lead changes, 28 laps under the caution flag today with a slow pace early on. Stage 1 winner William Byron in second at this point. And over the last couple laps has closed the gap a bit on Bubba Wallace. He's now within a half a second of Bubba after Wallace had about a 1.4 second lead right at the start of the commercial break a little bit ago. Our chat poll, which will be open until about 50 laps to go in the race. As of right now, we are sitting at 83 votes for who you think will win. 37% of you taking somebody other than Larson, Reddick, or Hamlin is the top vote getting poll. Larson, after his spin, now down to 30% of the votes, sitting a couple laps down. Denny Hamlin up in the top 5 is at 24%, and Reddick at 8% of the votes so far. A little bit up from where we saw moments back. Other shout-outs to newcomers into the stream recently. We got Tony G, Kyle Riker, and Big Bud 369. Welcome in. Field starting to bunch up at the front to Bubba Wallace in the 23 cars, maybe fading on the long run this go-around. Pretty good long-run car by the eye test in traffic back at stage 1, but that lead is dissipating. Trying to hang on close enough to get to those green flag pit stops. As we get closer to the halfway point of this stage, we are going to maybe see the window open. For fuel purposes, it's already open to make it to the end of the stage, but for tires, a lot of these teams maybe going to split this run in half by way of how many green flag laps that we are scheduled to run between now and the end of the stage. Side by side for second, Chase Briscoe and the 24 of William Byron. Chase Elliott, by the way, up to 5th place in recent laps during the commercial. The 200 Chevys up in the top 5, 3 Toyotas, 2 of which for JGR, and still the 2311 Toyota leading at the front. Byron passed by Briscoe for second. Denny Hamlin looking to get by for third on the inside of the 24 car also. Hamlin still staying with trying to make the pass on Byron to the bottom of the track. And will pull clear despite having a little bit of dirty air from the 19 of Briscoe in front of him. That 24 car starting to struggle, much like the 23 in front of him. Up for a second with Byron closing in on Wallace. He was going to be the one to take the lead away, but the 19 and the 11 outpacing both of the cars that were in front of them. And now Briscoe is closing in on Wallace for the lead. Briscoe going to try to get by the 23 car on the outside. Wallace wiggles on the bottom of the racetrack. Hamlin closing in fast as well. All three under a blanket as they cross the start-finish line this time. Hamlin looking to go up the middle between the 19 and 23 when the door closes. Hamlin now shoots to the bottom of the racetrack trying to beat both race cars. 3 wide for the lead as they exit turn 2. Down the back straightaway. Who's going to have the advantage? Tight battle between all 3 Toyotas. Shades of Nashville a few weeks ago. Briscoe, Hamlin now side by side for the lead after splitting by Bubba Wallace in the 23 car. Briscoe clear off turn 4 with momentum from the high side in the first lead of the day for the driver of the 19. Hamlin clear for second still on the 23 car. And already our 14th lead change in the first half of tonight's race. But Hamlin not done fighting yet. A fake to the inside by Denny. Rotates to the middle to upper groove of the racetrack, but it was a little late in the corner to try to get momentum off of the high side. So now he'll try to draft up behind Briscoe. Ton of straightaway speed still in that 11 car. All the way to the bottom, and green flag pit stops are starting at Chicagoland.
Does not really jump out. I'm going to draw here real quick. It's more bottom down here. And what happens is it's further to your left than you think as you get around that corner. I bring that up because as these leaders pit, you want to get as much time as you can, but this is a mistake we've seen many, many times here in the previous decade.
Crazy thing is that we haven't seen green flag pit stops at Chicagoland in 7 years, so that alone could maybe trip up some of these drivers in trying to make that stop without having a penalty by pitting outside of the commitment line. Chase Elliott from 5th in the pits brings Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher behind him as well.
And the 9 is in of Chase Elliott. The last thing he said on the radio, I don't think it's terrible early in the run. I think I'm just getting a little tight towards the end. You see the 9 off pit road as the 45 comes in. Tyler just told his crew chief Billy Scott we're migrating more free, but overall happy with the car.
And you'll see Chris Buescher leaving pit road, has to back up with stall. They're going to have to left front tire for Chris Buescher, who said he was a little bit too tight. Buescher. Same story for William Byron. Said, yeah, compared to these guys, meaning the Toyotas, he was racing up front. Said, I'm losing my front turn, or people promise we will free you up. As the first green flag cycle happened here at Chicagoland, 37 to go in 6.
Scheduled stops for all these drivers. First to give up position was Austin Cindric. He came down from 10th. Here's Chase Briscoe. Shannon?
Now, what a great run for Chase Briscoe right now. Tiny bit free out there on the racetrack, so they'll go to work on that 19 car right now.
Head service.
And Bubba Wallace is in his pits now. He had just told his crew chief Charles tonight, my car is getting worse. He fell from the lead to P3. Tonight said, don't worry, we'll adjust it. He is off and away.
Corey Heim making a stop. Running inside the top 12. Here he is, Shannon.
First time Corey Hyman's racing here in Chicagoland. He did do some of the tests with the guy earlier this year. He said he feels like his right rear is starting to go a little bit. Told him they're going to tighten him up on this pit stop.
Denny Hamlin stays on the racetrack. His idea is he's going to split this up even. 34 to go. He has 37 laps on his tires right here, so he must love the idea of being in clean air.
Yeah, Hamlin's got a big lead right now, staying on the racetrack significantly longer than everybody else that was up in the top 5. But as he ducks to the bottom of the racetrack as early as he does on the backstretch, I'm expecting Denny Hamlin to come onto pit road this time by, as he's got about a 12-second lead over Ryan Blaney, who is now in second trying to run long. Here comes Denny, the race leader, to pit road.
Long drive down pit road to that number 1 pit stall, Marty.
Yeah, when Denny Hamlin was outside the top 5, Adam, he said, quote, I'm going to quit messing around here in a little bit. And indeed, he did. Up there battling teammate Chase Briscoe for the lead. You see Tyler Reddick coming back to pit road. Hamlin, no complaints just on that long run speed, Danielle.
There's something wrong with the 45. Tyler came on the radio and said, guys, we're in trouble. I can't see anything, but it feels like water is everywhere. Could be something with oil pressure, Steve.
Fluid underneath the nose of the 45 car. You see it all over the right side. Something has gone through the radiator. Oil cooler, so maybe a piece of debris or something has gone through the radiator, or something inside the motor has exploded, but you see the fluid all over the right side. So this 45 would be retired. They could go back and make mechanical repairs, but you question.
What a fall from grace for Tyler Reddick in recent weeks. Finally lost the points lead last week at Sonoma, had power steering issues, and now dropping an engine in the middle going here at Chicagoland as well. Leaving a bunch of fluid back into the pit lane with him as they had to push that car back into the pits. And you wonder if we're going to catch a caution with that fluid maybe being on the racetrack as well. A lot of water pressure being lost for the 45 as he was exiting turn 2. He had already made his green flag pit stop several laps before this engine problem. Running along and on to pit road he goes. Motor running hot in the hot temperatures here around a track that we have not raced in a while, and problems for Tyler Reddick. And that is going to open the door up big time for the likes of Ryan Blaney, who is still out on the racetrack, trying to catch up in points to that of Hamlin and Reddick. Another DNF for Reddick, and could bring him closer. Same for Ty Gibbs, who is within 130 points as well, back 4th in the standings. Larson came in 5th in points entering the day, but he had a spin. He's a couple laps down, not having a good run. Denny Hamlin having a good run with just that 1-point lead, trying to widen out that regular season title gap. So with Reddick back in the garage area, caution flag is out, and I believe it is for fluid on the racetrack from the 45 perhaps, unless the 24 car had a problem. I don't think that's the reason for this caution. Let's check the timeline, see if they got anything. Yeah, fluid on the racetrack, lap 134, a lap ago, is the reason for the caution. So caution flag's out for the 6th time, and that's big for Ryan Blaney, who had stayed on the racetrack trying to keep the lead in hopes that a caution would come out. He would trap quite a few cars a lap down in doing so, and we're going to have to wait to see how many cars are going to be on the lead lap. There were only a few other cars that had not hit pit road yet as well during the run. Bell, Gillen, Stenhouse, Cole Custer, Ryan Preece, Zane Smith had not yet made a pit stop. J.J. Yaley was up in the top 10 as well. Byron was 11th place of those that had pitted for their 4-tire stops already. And it looks like we only had 19 cars on the lead lap when the caution came out. So Ty Dillon looks like he's going to get the free pass in 20th. And then we have drivers who were obviously on the lead lap that had short pitted, like Buescher and Keselowski. They're going to be a lap down. Buescher had the slow pit stop as he ended up having to back into the box because the left front tire was not secured tightly and didn't want to have an issue there. Reddick was on the lead lap. Obviously, he's out of it now. And tail end of the lead lap, Alex Bowman in 19th. So we might have quite a few cars taking the wave route. It's going to depend on how many lead lap cars end up staying out on the racetrack. But it looks like Ty Dillon, once again, is going to get the free pass in 20th place. Actually, looking at the leaderboard here, let me see what TNT is showing right now. They maybe have something different. So Bowman, last car lead lap, maybe in 16th place. I think there were cars on pit road as the caution did come out that weren't quite lapped yet, but were under the caution flag itself before they had actually exited the pit lane. So it actually looks like John Hunter Nemechek in 17th will get the free pass, not Ty Dillon in 20th. So Nemechek, 17th place, should get the free pass. Only 16 cars run the lead lap, with Blaney running long and catching the caution. Got to get all the fluid off pit road before they can open the pit lane. So we're going to take a quick break here. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race at Chicagoland continues. So under the yellow, the top half dozen, Ryan Blaney in the lead, Christopher Bell second, Todd Gillen third, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fourth, Cole Custer fifth, and Ryan Preece in sixth. First laps of the day that Blaney has been able to lead. Hasn't really ran in the top 10 at all here today as well. Getting bailed out with the caution. His teammate Cindric was able to lead some laps on strategy back at stage 1 and ultimately ended up with a 4th place stage finish on that said strategy. All right. Showing the in-season tournament challenge. We're not going to highlight that at the moment right now with the matchups and where they're running, only because we're going to have a lot of these cars that have not came to pit road yet when the caution came out in the middle of green flag stops make their way into the pits here shortly. Still trying to get the cleanup from Tyler Reddick going and complete. Get all the speedy dry down. If you're just tuning in for the first time or the first time in a while, Tyler Reddick losing an engine, dropping some fluid on the track. The reason for the caution, Reddick is now on pit road. Came into this race only 1 point out of first in the standings behind Denny Hamlin. Had a good day going up to this point, was consistently up inside the top 10, at times right around the top 5. And a good day gone wrong. Middle of stage 2. "16 cars on the lead lap because of the caution in the middle of green flag pit stops, with some of these drivers not yet making a stop, trying to run long, hoping for a caution that they actually ended up getting. Jared Bowser, thanks for tuning in. I can't show live commentary, or I should say, I can't show live footage of the race, but commentary from green flag to checkered flag from the start right here on this stream and on the channel. Watching the race on TNT Sports. Second of 5 races on the TNT Sports window through the summer. Still got the sweeper trucks in the pits. Some of these pit crews trying to get the excess speedy dry and maybe some other fluids that were left in the pit box so Reddick had backed up to the garage area from where he was. This 45 team going to do the best they can to try to get him back on track if they can figure out exactly what the problems were. You could see everything being left behind fluid-wise when he was getting backed up in the box, and fortunately has left some fluids in pit boxes for some of the other teams. Had the car shut off and it was still leaking out from underneath. So they're able to diagnose in the garage area. Pit road hopefully will be open this time by. Only 25 laps to go in stage 2. A little bit of a dash to the end of the stage by the time we do get back to racing, and pit road is open this time. So Ryan Blaney, who has not yet been to pit road, will pit. He'll bring everybody else who has not yet made a green flag stop through stage 2 in with him.
Others coming down.
Yeah, Adam, finally a good break for Christopher Bell after that pit road contact a little bit earlier. You see Ryan Blaney right in front of him. Bell said, hey, the balance is close, but I have no idea what to tell you to do because we're in so much traffic. They decided just to put 4 tires on it here and kind of see where they land. They think they'll start in the top 10. And for Ryan Blaney, he said, I honestly feel like not much has changed for us throughout the race. And at the end of the run, way too free for Blaney.
So Blaney wins the race off pit road for those who actually came down that time. Christopher Bell second out of the pits, but they are probably going to restart right around 10th on back. Going to have quite a few cars taking the wave around, of course, with being stuck a lap down when the caution flag itself actually flew. But likely not everybody going to be able to do that. It's going to depend on how many of the lead lap cars actually stayed out of the pits. I believe William Byron, who was in 8th place at the time of the caution, is going to be the new leader, as he would have been first of those that had already made their 4-tire stops and was already on the lead lap. So it looks like William Byron will be the new leader. Chase Briscoe second, Bubba Wallace third, Denny Hamlin fourth, and Chase Elliott going to round out the top 5 in 5th. 6 caution of the day, 17 lead changes, 35 laps of yellow. An hour and 50-plus minutes into today's race. Byron has led for 22 laps. He was a Stage 1 winner, and now he's going to be out in front yet again. Looking at the average running position in this race for a lot of these drivers, Byron actually has the best average running position so far. So pretty good day going for that 24 bunch. One of the better races, if not probably his best run from the start of a race to at least the middle portion of a race so far this season. Showers outside the track off 3 and 4. I mean, I'll check the radar. I haven't heard anything from the broadcast booth. Let me check my my Weather Channel app here in a second, and I'll get that answered for you. Honestly, it could just be the sun setting at this point in the day. It's supposed to rain at my place here in about another hour or so. Handful of hours east. It doesn't look like there's anything. Joliet, Illinois. It's only a 2% chance of rain, 8 o'clock local time. So I don't I don't think that there's anything brewing right now. I think it's just the way the sky looks in the sunset. Yeah, no rain issues there. I just gotta hope the rain issues that I have here doesn't knock the power out like it did at Pocono a few weeks ago, and I missed the end of the race. That'll be unfortunate. Again, once more, William Byron going to be the leader on the next restart.
Car back in the saddle at Chicagoland Speedway, racing here for the first time in 7 years. Tonight, it's the Eero 400 on TNT.
Majority of the field taking the wave around.
Right. I said sarcastically during the break, 75 cars took the wave around. It felt that way. So John Hunter Nemechek was the first car 1 lap down at the time of caution. He gets the free pass. Officially, 17 cars take the wave around. All of this cycles back to William Byron being the race leader. Let's get another update from the garage and Danielle.
The 45 team, Adam, is thrashing in that last commercial break. The old radiator came out. The new radiator came in. They're installing it now. I just talked to competition director at 2311, Dave Rogers. He said that is the only change we're making on this car. We are trying to get out as soon as possible. Here's the old radiator. You can see fluid is still leaking out of the bottom right corner. Guys, points as they run right now. Tyler Reddick is 10 points behind Denny Hamlin. You see the hole there. That is what went through the radiator and caused this entire issue. They are trying to get back on track as soon as they possibly can and minimize the points damage.
And racing can be cruel. Something goes through your nose and into the radiator.
Byron, Rudy Fugel, great execution of that green flag cycle. Here's the control car, front row, Chase Briscoe. 22 laps to go, stage 2 in Chicago.
Big block down the front straightaway. Stallman to the inside of Riley Hurts. 4 wide momentarily. It's going to cost Cinder quite a few spots. On the way up the racetracks. There's quite a few positions there.
Again, it's racing Denny Hamlin. That's for 4th on track, just behind Chase Elliott. Got his best running position of the night.
Bubba trying to battle back. Bowman crosses his nose, little contact there now, 3 wide. Christopher Bell to the inside.
20 car right back in the game.
Yeah, we were wondering how much damage from that contact on pit road, but Adam Seeks appears to have that 20 tuned up. Bubba's lost wide spots here. And trying to recruit.
How about Todd Gilliland? Benefits from the cycle? Here he is, maintaining some of that track position inside the top 10. 3 wide here.
Oh, the 20 gets a little bit loose right there. Has to jump out of the gas. It's going to allow Blaney to clear.
Blaney been on quite a run. 6 consecutive top 10s. He's never had 7. Trying to get it done tonight. Looking good right now.
Blaney fans, that's Adam Alexander. Trying to give you the broadcaster jinx.
I will fall on the sword. Well executed night so far for he and her chief Jonathan Hassler.
You see Bubba get a little bit loose right here. Oh, big moment. Chases the car up the track. Driving over that bump in the tunnel there, and the car takes off up the racetrack, almost wipes out.
We saw earlier, sensitive it is. I mean, Larson had to get away from him.
That cycle is done. Todd Gilliland running 8. John Hunter Nemechek 12. Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 14. All taking advantage of this.
All those guys we're talking about outside the top 20 when we began that green flag cycle earlier.
And then Blaney, who came down pit road, one of the first cars down pit road during the cycle, driving through the field up to 6th.
Get an update from Pit Road and Marty.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago, Adam, that Eric Jones was in the top 10, but now he's back in 32nd, actually. What's your on? Listen to him. Then he came on, Steve, and said it feels like the steering rack is broken and told the guys, listen, we got to clean up these mistakes, especially when you have speed like they had today, Steve, and you can race your way into the top 10. To have an issue like this, very frustrating for your driver.
Well, remember, it's been a mechanical day or a whole weekend for the 43. See what happens on the restart. Stuff the tracks a little bit. But you remember the 43 had a part fail underneath the car. The diffuser, I think, laminated or they hit something, but that cost them a bunch of practice. And now it sounds like the steering is having an issue.
Yeah, we have the standings in there. Below that chase cut line, driver 43, Eric Jones. 21 points out.
He's driving bad now. Trying to gain all the spots back as we watch. Bubba Wallace trying to pass Gilliland for 9th position. Cindric's trying to regain some of the spots he lost on the last restart.
Cindric was 10th, and the first to come down in the green flag cycle. So it's kind of leveled out for him as he rides at 11. Cindric, 14 laps to go on the stage, wants to get back inside the top 10, get some of those stage points after collecting 7 in stage 1.
Out of the fourth right here. This is kind of the battle for 10 points between these two drivers. Chase Elliott at 54, Ty Gibbs. Ty's in 4th in points. Chase Elliott in 5th as they run right now.
But Ty made the jump to 4th with the incredible execution last week, sweeping the stages at Sonoma, gets a top 5 finish, put 54 points on the board. A great effort by that group to go out and deliver on the road course. And he's been quiet here tonight, but inside the top 5 looking for more.
This really suits Ty Gibbs' style. I was talking to Tyler Allen, his crew chief, this morning, Adam. He said he loves tracks where you can run up high, you can search, you can hunt around. He credits it to his dirt background. He said, I want to go up there as soon as possible. And you can see Ty Gibbs running P4 right now. It's been a great night. It's been 10 races since that first Cup Series win at Bristol. His team knows it and feels like they have a chance to get their second win of the season here this evening.
Grab the spot away from Chase Elliott right there, and Blaney's trying to claw up into this battle as well, continue moving forward at 12th car. Blaney had no real good front end speed in practice, but on the long run, he looked pretty good to me. 6th and 10 lap and 5th and 15 lap. So there's good speed in this 12th car. It's one of the cars that came here and tested tire test, Denny Hamlin and Larson being the other two.
I love Blaney on NASCAR Nation earlier when we had the feature of him winning the 4th of July race at Daytona 2001, and Blaney's watching the clip, and his dad Dave was in the race. My dad Dave was in that race. I thought his reaction was outstanding. What do you have for us, Marty?
Yeah, I got to agree, Adam. That feature was just awesome earlier today. You know, I talked to Jonathan Hassel, crew chief for Ryan Blaney, earlier today about sort of their intermediate track performance. He said, listen, we have to keep it in perspective. Yes, we did the tire test here, but 6th to 10th has been a really good day for us at the intermediate track. So a top 5 finish, that'd be a fantastic day for us. We still have some improvements to make at Team Penske at this type of racetrack, but caught the caution at the right time, and Blaney showing his speed to keep it up there in the top 10 right now.
When you think about the tracks that are coming up, short tracks, I mean, he wins at Phoenix earlier this year. We know how good he is in the draft. We got Atlanta next weekend. We still go through Daytona, so this is a team to really watch down the stretch of the regular season.
Another car to watch is that 20 car, Christopher Bell right behind him. They made the additional repairs on pit road, and he's made the most of it. Up the 7th there and showing a little bit more speed than the 12 and possibly the 9. A couple positions for the 20 right there in front.
Look at the running order. for Joe Gibbs Racing. Second, third, and fourth for Briscoe, Hamlin, and Gibbs. And you mentioned Bell riding seventh, 3 wide here. I mean, that's a trio. You got Chastain, Logano, and Hocevar going at it.
Yeah, 21st, 22nd, 23rd in the running order.
No quit in any of those three, right?
Oh, perhaps when there should be.
Let it go. I will not.
But so entertaining. A fan favorite. Hocevar. He's really becoming beloved. I'm going to tell you. You hear it at pre-race, anytime he walks around the infield, anytime he's near a fan group or on social media, the fans really support driver to 77.
Well, you walk around here, and Steve, you were talking about the fans and how knowledgeable they are in this region of the country, regardless of what sport you're talking about, but certainly NASCAR. But you walk around and you just see so many fans now wearing that 77 gear. A lot of it produced when he won that race at Talladega.
Oh, that celebration.
Classic. 5 laps to go, stage 2.
Oh, look at there. Chastain throwing a block or two. Logano trying to just go where he wasn't. They make a little bit of contact on the front straightaway. Most of our loses the nose really bad right there.
And if this was for 5th, they would be smiling for this hard racing. But when you're outside the top 20 and someone's racing you like this, man, the frustration starts to build.
Five's back out on the racetrack, riding on board with Reddick.
29 laps down.
This battle here was pretty fun. Logano trying to salvage a good day after it's been really frustratingly slow in practice and qualifying. Well, Flaney finally takes the spot away from the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Good buddies there. Trying to jump back into the stage point game. Collected a bunch of them this year. Look at the lineup, hitting stage points. Blaney's top 5 in that category. And Byron in line to get a bunch of them tonight. Won the opening stage. Going to be 2 to go this time by. Briscoe right there with him. Hamlin not too far back.
We see the speed of the 5 cars. That spin is definitely damaged. They took the wave around. The older tires just didn't work. They didn't get the yellow. He's back to 2 laps down.
It's been interesting right here if we can ride on board or stick with this fight. Then he loses the nose as the 19 car drives across the front of the 11. It kind of creates like a foot weight of dirty air. You don't want to be behind anybody. You want to be offset or in some clean air there. So but then he seems to be quicker. The 19's probably struggling as he gets closer to the 24. So that presents opportunity for Denny to maybe take a position, if not 2. It's going to happen quick, though.
Final lap, stage 2.
Briscoe's going to send it top of the racetrack. Might have enough of a run down the back straightaway to close the gap. Drives right up on the back bumper. The 24 is trying to make it confusing as to where he might go.
Little shot fake there, going into the corner.
24 losing the car a little bit right here. Oh, 19 out of gas, got tight.
Byron back to the green and white checker flag. It's a stage sweep for driver 24. How about this? 21 total stage points for Byron in the last 11 races. He has 20 here tonight. That is big time.
Short run speed on the 24 car is evident. The long run speed is there for the 19, the 11, and all the Toyotas basically. Can the 24 keep control of the race, Steve? That's going to be the magic.
That's
getting to victory lane.
That is absolutely it, right? Because we have seen clean air, this 24 works, but if he falls behind, it could be a problem. He called it a shot fake.
End of stage 2, William Byron sweeping the stages here today at Chicagoland Speedway. Didn't see that coming entering tonight's race, but so far that 24 car looking like the 24 car of old. Chase Briscoe ends up second in stage number 2 with Denny Hamlin third, Ty Gibbs fourth, and Ryan Blaney sneaking up into 5th place there late. Christopher Bell into 6th, making a pass on Chase Elliott as well. Elliott falls to 7th in the closing laps of stage 2. Alex Bowman 8th, Austin Cindric 9th, and John Hunter Nemechek getting the final stage point in 10th. Pretty impressive after getting the free pass with the caution coming out with that last caution. So that's where we sit right now. Live commentary coverage continues here on KRC, a full flag-to-flag action of tonight's Eero 400 at Chicagoland Speedway. This stage break now is our seventh caution of the race so far. Forgot my fantasy lineups before the stream began here tonight, and I had SVG in the garage when I probably should have had Connor Zilic there. Didn't get any of the head-to-head battles, so hopefully you guys are all having a much better day than me, because I knew it was going to be rough knowing the lineup that I had from last week to this week. Last week it was a good lineup, not a good oval lineup, I will say that much. Tyler Reddick having some issues there in the late going of stage 2, dropping an engine, losing water on the racetrack was the cause of that last caution. He is out of the race up to this point still. They're working diligently to at least get it back out there, maybe try to salvage a couple more points if they can get back into this thing. But right now, 29 laps down and off the track. 3 cars are in the garage area and or out of the race up to this point. Larson will get the free pass at the end of the stage in 35th place. So Larson will get one of his 2 laps back. He will be at 1 lap down now. Everybody that was a lap down when the caution came out in the middle of green flag pit stops, and we only had these 16 cars on the lead lap, were able to take the wave around minus Larson. So Larson able to get a lap back here. So now he's down to 1 lap down following his spin, which happened early in the stage. While his Hendrick Motorsports teammate has swept the stages so far. Good points day for Byron, and really much needed. When we look back at the point standings entering this race here tonight, he was 12th in the points. Not exactly where you want to be if you're going to want to compete for a championship under this new chase format, new/old chase format. Austin Cindric, who was 16th in points, obviously only 4 positions behind him. It's not all that big of a buffer between Byron being in or out of the chase. So get yourself into a comfortable spot. If you can sweep both stages, go ahead, do it just like Ty Gibbs did last week at Sonoma. But obviously, if you can get the race win on top of it, that is a 75-point day. That would be massive for this 2014. Reddick's car has been fixed from the radiator issue. Awesome. Thank you for that update. Yeah, he still scored 29 laps down, but it sounds like, okay, then he is back on the racetrack again, at the very least. Stage yellow being our 7th of the race. We've had 5 for incidents, 3 in stage 1, 2 of them in stage number 2. Right around 100 laps to go with William Byron out in front. Chase Briscoe in second. Denny Hamlin sits in third. Ty Gibbs fourth. And Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5 and 5th at the end of stage 2. Whoa, I dropped my phone. Pit road should be open this time by... How many laps we have left? Not the final fuel window yet to make it to the end. But we are getting there as we're in the final third of the race. 40 laps under yellow already. We've seen some final stages run out green in recent weeks. Or at least long green flag runs to the end of a race. Poking out through the last couple of road courses, and we'll see. We get another longer green flag run today. Michigan was another track. We had a long green flag run to the checker. Pit road is open for the leaders.
Shannon.
Chase Briscoe going second right now. Great points day for this 19 team who finished second at Sonoma 1 week ago. They're just trying to figure out how the car will change or how it will be affected if they get that lead in clean air. But they did tell him he needs to be able to arc that number 3 a little bit better. Danielle. You see Ty Gibbs in the 54 hitting now. He said with the sun going down, for Chief Tyler Allen, I am just way too free. He said, we'll tighten you up. He scored 9 stage points today, Marty.
William Byron's at the 3-race show. All I'm worried about is a big point stage check in that category. 2 stage wins William Byron. It went tight the longer he ran. Same complaint for Denny Hamlin, just too tight on the long run as well, especially in 1 and 2, Adam.
Everybody executing up front when it comes to their pit stop. The one
All right, William Byron winning the race off pit road, continuing on with the race lead. No change in position with the top 5. They all went in the same order they came out. 20 lead changes on the day. I'm sure we haven't seen the last. 24 car has led for more laps today than he has all season up to this point. 46 laps led and counting for William Byron. He had 42 laps led on the season prior to tonight. Usually we close out the chat poll at the end of stage 2. I didn't have that open right at the start of the race today, so we're going to leave that open until about 50 laps to go tonight. 39% of you taking somebody other than Hamlin, Larson, or Reddick for the win. Reddick now out of contention to win this race today. I'm not going to count Larson out entirely, even though he's a lap down to begin stage 3. His voting poll has dropped a lot. He was at 35% after his spin, now down to 28%. Others' votes have gone up since then. Denny Hamlin at 26% of the votes was still sitting top 3 at the end of stage 2. We'll take another break as we get to the closing haul of today's race here at Chicagoland Speedway. NASCAR's return. First race here since 2019. Who will go to victory lane in the next hour? Yeah, I got you a shout out at the beginning of the stream, Bam. I started going through all the shout outs once we got through all the pre-race stuff. Wanted to make sure I was going to hit every bullet point. Yeah, definitely the best race William Byron has had this season. Laps let alone. And, you know, when I was calling my favorites for the race win today between the two 23-11 cars and then Denny Hamlin, Byron had not been on my radar and was definitely sleeping on him. I didn't want to call the stage 1 win a fluke, but you know, the 2-tire strategy call kind of kept the track position. Wasn't sure how that was going to be getting into stage 2, resetting everything with everybody on 4 tires, but here he is still up at the front. Lose the lead at various times, end up finding his way back. The 24 car not as good on the long runs as the JGR Toyotas of Briscoe and Hamlin, who had bested him and actually passed him for the lead before the green flag pit stops in stage 2. But Byron was able to get the lead back by pitting before the 19 and the 11, and then when the caution came out, he had cycled back to the leader on the restart. A good restart to hold on to the lead and held on all the way to the end of the stage for that final 25-lap dash.
Still finished outside the top 20 the last 5 races. So potential massive point swing here at Chicagoland Speedway. But the racing has been fantastic. And Bert, you're really impressed with that guy Ryan Blaney as well.
Well, anytime there's a loser, there's a winner. So Reddick obviously losing with that problem. That was a huge break for Blaney. He had not pitted. That got his track position. Finished 20th in stage 1, just in the top 5 right now.
What about the battle for the lead that we saw earlier? Chicagoland has proven why we love coming to this place. You see 2 Joe Gibbs racing cars, Hamlin and Briscoe, going to split the 23-11 right here. Bubba Wallace, it's been epic. William Byron said, hold my beer, I'll be there in a second to come up and win the next stage.
It's absolutely fantastic racing, Adam. And I'll wait to see how this thing wraps up, my friend.
I'm just glad that McMurray got the hold my beer reference.
Hold my beer. Y'all got beer down there? I mean, what's the deal? Man, come on, that's not fair.
We talked about the effort on pit road. Zane Smith did have an uncontrolled tire. He was inside the top 20, so he'll have to come from the back. Front row. Briscoe. Talked about keeping control. Pit lane, want to do it on the restart as well. Final stage, Chicagoland Speedway on TNT.
Just can't get over how much they fan out on the restarts here. A little wide again.
Blaney around the top of the racetrack. Bubba Wallace joining him. That's the car right behind Blaney. Got to give him a shove.
Bowman right there as well. Gibbs jumping inside of his teammate Chase Briscoe, racing for second as they come off turn 4. Second to fifth in the running order. All getting it done for the club. Gibbs Racing.
Oh, a little bit of nose correction there. Just ahead of the 3-wide battle. Top 7 right there on the screen.
Oh, wow. Hamlin squeezes in front of Bell.
Bell's going right back to the outside, though. Still side by side.
At that radio, it's entertaining.
Bell's going to stay on the outside here around turn 2.
Oh, man.
Back straightaway. Briscoe to the inside of the 54. Ty Gibbs takes
These
that spot away.
These cars are
Body
relentless
language
with one another.
It's time to go.
I think the 4 Gibbs cars, all of them know how good they are in the long run. They want to be the lead of that group. Watch this slide you off the 11, up in front of the 20 right here, bottom right.
A little bit of a lane out there, but yes, tight racing is going to trace each other really, really hard here. That lead.
Go, it's close when the hood slap comes up.
Still side by side here with the 20 and the 11. Christopher Bell up high, Denny Hamlin down low.
Remember, these are the 2 that raced like this in the closing laps of the 600 and allowed Daniel Suarez to kind of maintain the lead. We thought it was going to be a Gibbs car, but they could not sort it out.
And they were both part of the battle as well at Nashville, Steve.
You have that epic 3-wide white flag.
Christopher Bell with the wrist injury now feels like he's on the way back to a full recovery.
It was at that point that I said, watch out for Bell. He goes second in the 600. He goes second at Nashville, and you're like, he's on his way. And then the crash at Michigan injures the wrist. A lot of challenges since that time. He's on track, top 5 at Sonoma.
And he's finally going to be able to get clear enough to slide up in front of him and take the lane, take the air away. Both of them to the bottom of the racetrack. This entire side of the racetrack in the shade. Steve, as you mentioned, the temperature of the track goes down. That tends to mean the lane, the groove moves down as well as the grip of the track goes up. It's a little harder to make that high line work. This end of the racetrack still in the sun for the time being.
I was looking to see where the fastest lap was run. It was still back on lap 90. Close racing between Cindric and Suarez. I mentioned the 600. Well, there's the winner of Charlotte Danielle. Daniel Suarez in the 7th.
What a day for Suarez. Something as Kirchie called a blue-collar day is what we're going to have. There is no magic trick to pull out with strategy. He started 26. We're just going to have to pick him off one at a time and gain track position. That's exactly what they've done. From 26, Suarez is now 12th, getting oh so close to cracking the top 10. He is happy with his car. And remember, Adam won the Coke 600 on an intermediate in May.
Hey, slip back to the 11th. You look at the chase standings. So it's lost a little ground last couple of weeks in that regard. Coming off fourth run of the year, 31st at Sonoma, but staying in the game tonight.
Those chase standings are getting ready to have some brackets, right? Like the first 2 have separated. Then there's 4 or 5 other guys that are together. Then a couple other, right? We're starting to see some separations. When you talk about Bell and that wrist injury, right? He is trying to chase Suarez down. That's the next position up the road for him when it comes to the standing. You can see on the left side of your screen. Remember, 16 advanced, but we really think top 10, even top 5 or 6 on the restart have the best opportunity when it comes to the championship.
Talk about Suarez winning the Coke 600. Corey Heim wins in San Diego. And they're racing for a spot there. Heim up to 12th in the running order.
Look at Ryan Blaney here in the 12th car. Called us to the back bumper of Christopher Bell. He's trying to take that spot away. Impressed by the speed of the 12 of Blaney, and did feel like the board's been very good all summer long. Butcher was strong early in the race. Right now, I'm riding in 15th, but the only other Ford really up toward the front of the field is this 12.
But I think about Blaney, and I look down the road because, third in points. So they're going to be great when you look at the reset for the chase. But we've also talked about where they are when it comes to intermediate performance. And you're going to have to be good on these mile and a half in the chase if you're going to have a chance to win the title.
Well, I know Team Penske knows they want to have their cars better, but they have to be very happy, Dale, to know that they got this man in a contract extension. I mean, what he does behind the wheel of this 12 car, it's not in question, right? They locked him up. They have their franchise guy. Logano's a great guy, multi-time champion, but Blaney being a little younger, and he just is the leader of the pack pretty consistently. Logano said recently that Blaney's the better driver. And I think when you go down in the garage and you look at how good Toyotas are and how off the boards have been all summer, the garage would tell you that Blaney's better than anybody imagined.
I remember, Dale, when you and I talked to Paul Wolf, Joey Logano's crew chief, a couple of months ago, and he just referenced the data that he has because he's an in-house guy at Team Penske, and just paid such a huge compliment to Blaney of what he's able to do with the race car based on the speed that it has delivered on a particular weekend.
I've had a lot of teams tell me about what the Toyota advantage may or may not be, where Chevrolet stacks up, where it's this, and every conversation ends with, and Blaney's a driving machine, because they just don't believe that's where those Penske cars should run, 100%.
But he's a student of the game, and I would say the same about Corey Heim, 12th right now, Shannon.
Yes.
Another solid day for Hahn.
Reese, yes, started 28th here today, and he's had restarts back in the 20s, but he has been making his way just outside the top 10. This team's been very strategic about the races that they put him in, give him some time in between each one to get ready. They actually started preparing for this one while they were working on San Diego setup. But Corey Heim told me today is about trying the top lane. He said, I've never really been very good up there. Haven't been able to find. I want to go up there. I want to test it. If I don't push myself today in this race, it will have been a failure.
Like their approach, running every few weeks, gives this young man a little bit of time. Remember, he doesn't run anything full time. His trucks, he's O'Reilly, he's up, bouncing all around. I'm going to take a minute too. Tip of the hat to my old buddy Booty Barker, crew chief for Corey Heim, got that win out in San Diego at number 6 on top of the pit box today. Did a lot with Bubba Wallace, doing a lot with this young man. Guy in the garage that you rarely see not in the good mood.
And you know what? If you're a young driver, he just tells it like it is. But see, you're always going to know exactly where you stand.
He's hiding from the camera. There's my buddy Booty in the middle. That's right, Booty. You can smile. I won't tell anyone.
It's hard to run 12th in a cup race. It's hard to do that. These young man's doing their incredible job. I think since he won in San Diego, our expectations have shifted somewhat, right? Is 12th really a great day? Absolutely it is, against this stout of a field.
Riding with Hamlin, the man who tapped him on the shoulder to come full time in 2027. I would say there's some similarities between these two. When you think about mindset, approach, driving style, and Hamlin racing to the outside of Gibbs for third.
As we get deeper into this run, the expectation would be that the Toyotas would start to put a little bit of pressure on William Byron from Frisco 8/10 back. Seems to be maybe closing the gap a little bit.
William Byron continues to lead 68 out front tonight for the guy that swept stage 1 and stage 2.
We'll go through the full field running order here. William Byron leads over Chase Briscoe by about 0.8 of a second. 3.2 second advantage to Denny Hamlin in third. Ty Gibbs now fourth, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Ryan Blaney in 6th place. 7th in the running order is Bubba Wallace with Alex Bowman in 8th. Chase Elliott 9th. And Riley Herbst having a solid day in 10th. 11th is Austin Cindric with Corey Heim at 12th, as we heard from moments ago. Ross Chastain is 13th. Daniel Suarez, his former teammate, 14th. And Eric Jones in 15th. Chris Buescher in 16th place. John Hunter Nemechek 17th. Joey Logano 18th. Todd Gillen 19th. And 20th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 21st, A.J. Allmendinger with Brad Keselowski 22nd. Carson Hocevar 23rd. Austin Dillon 24th. And Ty Dillon 25th. Josh Berry in 26th with Noah Gragson 27th. Cole Custer 28th. Zane Smith 29th. And Shane Van Gisbergen is 30th. 31st, Michael McDowell. Cody Ware, 32nd. Ryan Priest, 33rd. G.J. Yaley, 34th. Kyle Larson still lap down in 35th. 36 is Tyler Reddick on track, 28 laps down. Austin Hill in 27th, and 37th, excuse me. And then 38th, Connor Zilic with the opening lap crash. Both Hill and Zilic, the only two cars out of the race. 22 lead changes. William Byron out ahead now only by 0.6 of a second as we're in the closing stages of today's race. We're going to be down to a little less than 70 laps to go this time by at the start-finish line. You're listening live on KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues in this one. Still at least one more pit stop to make it to the end of the race for the fuel and tire purposes. One more pit stop for fuel, but because of the tire wear at this older surface at Chicagoland Speedway, we have definitely not seen the final pit stop. Not as much tire wear as I thought we were going to see throughout the course of the race today, but we have still seen some. About a second of fall off for William Byron over this point in this green flag run, which has been about 20 to 25 laps so far. Last lap he ran was a 31.356 to a 30.257 being his fastest lap, which was lap 90 back in stage number 2. Denny Hamlin, since getting to third place, was not able to drive away. Christopher Bell during the commercial break, making passes on both Hamlin and Gibbs for 4th and 5th.
Live at Chicagoland Speedway. Let's go back to pre-green and what we were keeping our eye on, fellas.
Well, the change of track is absolutely coming true as the sun starts to set. The lights are coming on. We still have 72 laps to go in this race. This track is starting to darken up for the tire rubber, too.
We talked about Toyota versus the field. It's really Toyota versus William Byron right now. Stage winner in stage 1 and 2. Byron out front, keeping a pretty solid lead over Briscoe right now. Can he stay there?
Let's get an update from pit road. Here's Marty Snyder.
Convenient timing, Adam, that Steve is keeping his eye on this changing track. Ryan Blaney's been struggling with it since he caught that caution, kind of hanging around the top 5. A moment ago, Steve, he just dropped Nasser Hay, freeing up really for the first time all day long. And then he came back a second ago and he said, I think it's a track. I don't think it's us. So clearly that track change you're talking about, Steve, happening right now. So how critical is that next change? And also, as the sun goes down, it's getting a lot cooler here at Chicagoland.
Well, let me add to that, Marty. Not only is the next change critical, but we have seen kind of a wave of green flag pit stops, but then we got a yellow. When your car pits under green and fires right back on the racetrack at full speed, doesn't have yellow laps to heat the tires up and let everything come up to temperature, your balance will shift dramatically. It could change the whole next run. Who guesses right on that? Normally, you get rinse and repeat, stage 1 or stage 2. You get a couple tries at it. This may be our first long extended run for the green flag cycle.
I would say that Briscoe might be Byron's biggest concern, but Christopher Bell is starting to come into that conversation as well as he's got his car up to third position over the course of this long run. The car looking really good at the right time tonight.
Play the Jaws music. That 11 car has that look. We've seen it at Michigan. We saw it at Pocono. We've seen it at Nashville.
Well, no deficit is too big, right? You think about he gets the pole Nashville and jumps the start, so has to come from the back. Wins the pole at Michigan. Once again comes from the tail end of the field. Tonight had some compromised track position early after a cycle of stops, but here he is. Denny Hamlin racing his teammate Christopher Bell for third.
Look, I don't know if it's smoke and mirrors or part of the action's detrimental sales pitch or whatever it is. But what he's selling about not caring about practice and learning from Michael Jordan and figuring out a different way to run these races and staying calm throughout the day, like that's what we're seeing on racetrack. So it's more than a marketing campaign for Denny Hamlin. He's kind of not only talking the talk, but then he walks the walk when it gets into the race. And you're seeing it right here once again as he drives right by the 20. Fastest car of the top 3 last lap, even with a pass.
Hamlin having a good night in a race car, and once again, his driver's having a good night on track. Obviously, Reddick had the issues, but Bubba Wallace up there in 7th has really been a part of the equation throughout the night, Danielle.
He really has had one of the best cars all day today, Adam. His crew chief, Carl tonight just said, you're doing good with pace. He's told to stay with it, to stay with the car until the pit window opens. I'm not sure the driver loves that plan. Let's take a listen to the radio.
Still doing good. Stay with it. Better than the other guys here for Vince. Get it through a window. You're balanced prior to this point.
Stevie, when your driver's screaming about tires, how bad are the tires right now, and how long into that pit window opens that Bubba's praying for?
Well, with 65 to go, they could make it from here on fuel, but they have only run 31 on this sets of tires. So while you can give your driver some short-term relief, it's going to be a long-term pain if you don't get a caution. You can be on the front side, and it will work, but I think you have to force your driver to run at least 10 more, probably 15 more laps to really get to where you want to be. Hyde continues to battle, moving forward now, attacking Cindric for the 11th position.
Just in front of them, Riley Herbst having a good night inside the top 10. A couple of weeks ago, matched his career best in San Diego when he was 8th.
It's not just on the racetrack, guys. I'm looking at the pit stops from today. Briscoe's fastest stop of the year was today. 2 of Byron's 3 fastest were today. 2 of Hamlin's 5 fastest stops were today. So these teams are figuring out the setups on the racetrack. Pit road is figuring it out. Now the question is, you can go too fast. This green flag pit stop, man, I just need a base here. Let's not swing for the fences. And as a driver coming on pit road, Dale, I know you want to try to get all you can, but I would be reminding you how tricky this entrance is.
Yeah, so far they've been real conservative with pit entry, but they'll need to push it to the limit here to try to maximize getting on and getting off pit road, getting on being the more tougher part. You mentioned all these cars that are running at the front of the field: Briscoe, Byron, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Gibbs. They all have top 10 pit crews. This will be a heck of a competition between the teams on the racetrack and on pit road. 19 at Briscoe on turn 2 exit. But too high, gets right rear in the wall.
That was a big mistake by Briscoe.
On the sidewall of the tire against the boards for quite a while. Sometimes that can knock the sidewall out of the tire or create a slow leak.
So I'm racing around Larson, who had gotten the free pass to get to 1 lap down. It's now gone 2 laps down once again.
Denny's got back by the 20.
Top 5 with 61 to go. Byron, Briscoe, Hamlin, Bell, and Gibbs. Green flag pit stops coming up on TNT.
Bell has been in a back and forth battle with Hamlin ever since we got the final stage underway about 20 minutes ago or so. Those two were battling side by side, back and forth for a couple laps. Hamlin pulled away. Bell just got back by Hamlin during the last commercial break, and now we fast forward 10 to 15 laps later. Denny gets back by Christopher Bell, only now for a crossover this last lap. Bell gets back by Denny once more, and Hamlin looks to the inside for third. Epic battle between those two drivers, but in battling this aggressively, they are losing time to the top 2 cars of both Briscoe and Byron in front of them. And even though Briscoe made contact with the wall, he fell from about 0.6 of a second off the lead to about 1.3 seconds back of Byron in 1 lap, but now has climbed back to 1.1 seconds behind the 24 car as we get closer to the final pit stops of the day. Fuel windows open to make it to the end, about 65 to 70 laps on a full fuel tank, and we are down under 60 laps to go right now. As far as the tires side of things go, in the wear, about 1.7 seconds the difference between Byron's last lap and his fastest lap of the race. And that has dropped off about another 6 to 7 tenths of a second in the last 15 laps from where it was before that. That was right around lap 30 in the stage, and we're at lap 45 right now. Briscoe with another big gain that last lap. It was a full 1/10.5 faster than Byron, and he has cut the lead back to 7 tenths again. So the 24 car kind of fading on this long run. We saw this back at stage 2 before green flag pit stops. Byron was able to leapfrog by pitting before the 19 and the 11 at the time. Now the 11 is out of the equation and is between the 19 and the 24. You got to hope if you're Briscoe or a Briscoe fan that he didn't damage the car too badly when he made contact with the wall, that they don't have to pull any fenders out to get the tires off the right side of the race car. That will be something else to monitor during green flag pit stop sequencing. Top 10 in the running order in the intervals between them right now. William Byron leads by 0.7 of a second over Chase Briscoe, 3.3 seconds ahead of Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin, 4.1 seconds back in fourth. And Ty Gibbs is 4.9 seconds out of the lead in fifth. Ryan Blaney is 5.8 seconds back in sixth place. Bubba Wallace, 6.4 back in seventh. Alex Bowman in eighth is 7.1 off the lead. 8.6 seconds back for the ninth place car, the number 9 Chase Elliott. And Corey Heim up inside the top 10 as of recent laps. He has gained 5 positions since the restart to begin stage 3. He's 9 seconds off the race leader from Byron. 24 car has been the class of the field today by way of laps led, and the fact he has won the first 2 stages of the race. 91 laps led for Byron, most in the race today. Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter, has led for 28. Bubba Wallace for 34 with a decent amount. 18 for Austin Cindric on pit strategy in stage 1. 8 for Ryan Blaney on pit strategy under green flag action in stage 2. Chase Briscoe's led for a mean mere 5 laps in today's race. Joey Logano 1 lap led on a restart. That's where Cindric was on that same strategy back in stage 1. Cole Custer led 2 laps during green flag stops at some point today as well. Kyle Larson led for 23 laps, went for a spin in stage number 2. He is now 2 laps down yet again, losing a second lap on the racetrack with some damage to the underbody of that car. Definitely not handling the same since running on the roadblocks. And those are the different leaders of today's race. 22 lead changes amongst them, 7 cautions so far. We haven't seen one in stage 3 up to this point, so have we seen the final restart? And is it going to be kind of straightforward here between the 24, the 19, and I'd say even the 20 of Bell kind of catching up? He was in a back and forth battle with Hamlin throughout the stage. He's starting to pull away from him a bit, and now Bell's within 2.7 seconds of the leader. And in fact, that last lap that was ran, Christopher Bell was the fastest car on the racetrack with a 32.0 flat nearly. That was a full 1/10 of a second faster than both Briscoe and Byron. Closer he can get to the leader by the time green flag pit stops open. If he pits a lap or 2 before Byron, that could open the door to maybe swinging into the lead through the cycle. Ryan Blaney into 5th place here recently on the leaderboard. And that is because Chase Briscoe from 2nd place was hit.
Green flags will start right now, Shannon.
19 cars really coming alive. What these laps at this time have been better than the leader. Not much changes in this 19 as he heads back out.
See if William Byron counters. I don't believe he can think he'd give the 19 extra laps to pit road. He does. On the pit road, will he get under the box? Well done by driver 24. Now it's up to the pit crew. They need a clean and green stop, and he'll try to cycle back out in front of the 19, who's already changed those 4 tires.
William Byron had a 1-second lead over Chase Briscoe when the 19 made his scheduled stop. Handful of other drivers coming down now. Here's the 24, Marty.
Boy, Adam, it took Reed Eagle about 3 seconds after he took the 19 on, knowing the advantage of those fresher tires. But 3, William Byron, Ty Gibbs, also. The drivers, how free the racetrack has gotten with 51 to go.
24 right side of the screen, left side of the screen. 19 of Briscoe, who's already completed his service. Let's see if he can do something about this. On board with Briscoe, up ahead. Byron trying to get power down on the apron.
Not going to be able to do it, I don't believe. Chase Briscoe will blow by William Byron and pitting just 1 lap before the 24 car at about a 6/10 of a second deficit is going to be enough to bypass him on the racetrack. Christopher Bell now at
As Bell makes his stop, Marty.
Back-to-back impressive performances for Christopher Bell from the top 5 at Sonoma last week. Now let's see what Bell cycled out. His car just a little bit too free on that last run.
And the 19, remember the 11, the leader is yet to come to pit road. 48 on pit road, Shannon.
Yeah, pretty solid day for the most recent winner here at Chicagoland. It's really good. It's 1-2. And like everybody else, the car is really starting to come alive as these temperatures have gone down, guys.
The gap for Briscoe to Byron, all that 1 extra lap. As now we see the 11 right side of your screen will come to pit road. He'll get his service done.
Cycles Bubba Wallace to the race lead. Scheduled green flag pit stops final stage at Chicagoland. Pole sitter, head your way, Marty.
And has the advantage of that number one pit stall, which has helped him under caution, except for that one stop where the 11 kind of had an issue on that stop. Hamlin, for the first time all night, a little bit too free, and instead of a hedgy in 3 and 4, slides in the spot, slips a little bit. A critical adjustment here for this 11, because it's kind of lost that long run that he had earlier in the race. Chicago gets back out on the racetrack and see where he cycles out.
Hamlin stays out a handful of laps longer than everybody else up inside the top 5, top 10 in the running order. Corey Heim was running in 10th place before pit stop started. He's still out there on the racetrack with about a 10-second lead over Todd Gilliland. Bubba Wallace has made his way to pit road.
Right now, asked how many laps to go on the tires. They said, stay with it. He said, I'm all over the place. He wanted those 4 fresh Goodyears. He's down the way. Great pit stop for Bubba Wallace, 9.4 seconds.
4 drivers in the pylon need to make a pit stop. Corey Heim gives up the top spot. Here he is, Shannon.
What a great run it is for this young man. Won the race at San Diego, took the week off, and he's been running in the top 10. Since the car fired off tight this run, but overall he is happy with that 67.
Drives away. Gilliland, Priest going to have to make pit stops. And once they execute, it will cycle back to Chase Briscoe. He was able to cycle to the front. When you talk about those drivers.
Yep, there you have it right now. Chase Briscoe back in the lead, and as the top 5 in the running order have cycled through green flag pit stops, really the whole field has cycled through green flag pit stops already. We now have Chase Briscoe out in front by 0.8 of a second over William Byron, 5.2 seconds ahead of third place Christopher Bell, 7.6 seconds ahead of Ryan Blaney in fourth, and Ty Gibbs 8.1 seconds off the lead, rounding out the top 5 in fifth. We're down to just over 40 laps to go here today at Chicagoland Speedway. The final green flag pit stops have commenced, and if we stay green to the end, this is going to be the run to the checkered flag. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal is to get to 100 likes today. We have already eclipsed that goal, but maybe we can get to 150 by the end. We're at 108 at the moment. I told you guys I was going to leave the chat poll open until about 50 laps to go in the race because I did not open it at the very start. So usually we close it at the end of stage 2, left it open a little longer. 129 of you guys watching had voted for who you think is going to win tonight's race at Chicagoland. 44% taking somebody other than my initial top 3. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and Tyler Reddick. Hamlin, my pick for the win, is still in this thing, running in the 6th place position at 23% of your votes. Larson at 27%, was running 3rd earlier in the race, had a spin in stage 2, running 3rd. He's now 2 laps down at Tyler Reddick with some engine issues, dropped water pressure, left some fluid on the track, pulled in the garage area for a lengthy period of time. He's back on track, but 29 laps down. So tough break for both Reddick and Hamlin. 2nd and 5th in the point standings are the 2 of them, and they're going to lose some points to some of those other drivers up in the top 5 having a good day today, like the likes of Ryan Blaney, who sits 3rd in points and is running 4th. Denny Hamlin in 6th is the points leader. And now we got some newcomers there right around the top 10 in points at 10th, 11th, 12th spot. Those are the guys in your top 3 right now, Briscoe, Byron, and Bell. Kind of getting a little bit better here over the last several oval races, and here they are picking up where they left off. And even not so much just on the ovals, but the road courses as well. When you look at both Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe, runner-up last week, came close to a win, almost besting SVG at Sonoma. And Christopher Bell having a top 5, his first of which since his fractured wrist in a crash at Michigan about a month ago. And Briscoe's putting together some good lap times right now as well as he's slightly pulling away from that 24 car of Byron. Jumped out in front of him with the pit stop. Didn't have to outright pass him on track. Briscoe was already doing better the longer that run was going. Having the new tires on the race car, what is that going to do here for the 24 car? Is he going to be able to keep pace with the 19? Because right now he's struggling to do so. 40 laps to go at the start-finish line that time by for the Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry of Briscoe. Another one of those red, white, and blue paint schemes out on the racetrack with the 4th of July weekend coming to an end here shortly. It's only the 2nd time that Briscoe has led in tonight's race, as he's in search for the first win for himself in 2026. 12 laps led for Briscoe, 94 for Byron, who won the first 2 stages today. 1 for Bell, 8 for Blaney, 30 for Hamlin. Each of the top 5 have led. Bubba Wallace for 35 laps led today. 18 for Austin Cindric, who's up inside the top 10 again. Corey Heim led 1 lap during green flag pit stops there moments ago. 1 for Joey Logano on a restart back in stage 1. Gilliland led 1 during green flag pit stops here in this final stage, in this final pit stop sequence as well. Custer in stage 2 was able to do so for 2 laps. And Kyle Larson for 23 before his spin earlier in the race. Larson's worked his way up a couple spots after the spin. He's in 34th now. And again, 2 laps down. Denny Hamlin just got back by Ryan Blaney for 4th place on the racetrack as he blows by Blaney on the outside through turns 1 and 2 as I speak. 11 has outpaced the 12 for most of the afternoon. Good strategy call, kind of flipping the race for the 12 team. They had struggled to run inside the top 10 pretty much all day. They were mired back 12th to 19th for most of the afternoon. A couple of slow pit stops in the first 2 stages mixed in there. But in stage number 2, that call to keep Blaney on the track just long enough that a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops happens. A little bit of luck on his side with that. He was able to throw some fresh tires on the car as well in doing so. Got the restart in the top 10 because of only having 16 cars on the lead lap and several others that were on the same strategy as him not pitting when that yellow came out. He was able to drive up into the top 5, and here he is near the top 5 late. He just lost a spot to Hamlin moments ago. And he's kind of fading here because he just got passed now by the 48 of Alex Bowman, who's coming to life in this one. And that's the first time we've seen Bowman up inside the top 5 here tonight. Of course, the defending winner at Chicagoland all the way back in 2019, and he is definitely looking pretty good here down the stretch. Not quite outrunning Denny Hamlin, who would be the next driver for position in front of him. But hey, you never know. He's up in 5th right now. Catch another caution. Maybe gains a couple spots on pit road. Gets a good race start. He's very much in contention if something like that were to happen. Byron and Briscoe kind of trading lap times back and forth during this green flag run right now. Briscoe is slightly pulling away from Byron. Now it's kind of within that 0.8 of a second to a 1.2 second difference. Last lap by, Briscoe is a few hundredths of a second faster than Byron, and sure a couple more laps to go by. Byron might be quicker 1 lap. Briscoe another. Just can't put consecutive laps together for either of the two of them in comparison to one another. Full field running order after the green flag pit stop cycle. Chase Briscoe leads with William Byron in 2nd, Christopher Bell 3rd, Denny Hamlin 4th, and now Alex Bowman in 5th for the first time tonight. Ryan Blaney in 6th, Ty Gibbs 7th, Bubba Wallace 8th, Chase Elliott 9th, and Corey Heim still in 10th. 11th is Austin Cindric with Riley Herbst 12th, Ross Chastain 13th, Daniel Suarez 14th, and Joey Logano 15th. 16th is Eric Jones, Chris Buescher 17th, AJ Allmendinger 18th, Ty Dillon 19th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 20th. 21st is Todd Gilliland. John Hunter Nemechek 22nd is the last car on the lead lap. Carson Hocevar first car lap down in 23rd. Austin Dillon 24th. Brad Keselowski 25th. 26th place is Noah Gragson 27th. Zane Smith. Cody Ware 28th. Shane Van Gisbergen at 29th. And Ryan Brees 30th. 31st, Cole Custer. Josh Berry 32nd. Michael McDowell 33rd. Kyle Larson 34th. 35th, J.J. Yaley. 36th, Tyler Reddick. Austin Hill 37th. And Connor Zilisch rounds out the 38-car field. 28 lead changes now as we cycle through those green flag pit stops. And we are running out of time here. Just 30 laps to go this time by. Christopher Bell a little bit faster than both Byron and Briscoe that last lap for 3rd place. He's 4 seconds ahead of Hamlin. And he's also about 4 seconds behind Byron. League of his own right now, but he's putting the lap times together. Lost a little bit of time during the green flag pit stops to that of the 24 and the 19. He did stay out a couple laps longer. How much of that ground is he going to make up? He was the fastest car on track right before the green flag pit stops happened, but when the 19 and the 24 pitted ahead of him, he was about 2.5 seconds off the lead. So, again, obviously some time lost there now that he's about 5.5 seconds back. In-season tournament challenge as we're coming down to the closing laps of the race. Let's see matchup-wise where all of those drivers are running right now. Got to pull the bracket back up real quick. Thought I had it on another tab, but I do not. All right, so let's go fantasy in-season tournament challenges. We're in the closing laps and see what kind of battles we've got on track here as we come closer to the end. So between Alex Bowman and Austin Cindric, Cindric is in the 11th place position. Alex Bowman in 5th, trying to win that battle. Remember, Bowman, the 32 seed, upset Tyler Reddick after Reddick had power steering issues at Sonoma a week ago. Carson Hocevar facing off against Todd Gillen. Hocevar had that early incident. Gillen also an incident on pit road where he had gotten spun around after contact there. And looking at the leaderboard right now, trying to find them both. Hocevar is a lap down in 23rd. Gillen in 20th, tail end of the lead lap. So that still could be a battle here in these final roughly 26 laps to go now. Next battle on the left-hand side of the screen as we scroll down a bit. Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. They've both been in the top 10 all day. Briscoe now in the lead late. Ty Gibbs still top 10 as he sits in 7th. Marked that 8th place. Bubba Wallace just got around him. So Ty Gibbs now back in 8th, but a little bit off of where Briscoe's running at the moment. Chase Elliott versus Michael McDowell. We've seen Elliott up in the top 5, top 10 at random times tonight. He's sitting in 9th right now. And Michael McDowell practically started the race a lap down, considering he had that pass-through penalty in the opening couple of laps. He has not recovered really ever since. 33rd place in a rough night for McDowell continues. Very much looking like Elliott will advance to the round of 8 of the in-season tournament challenge. Right side of the screen, Denny Hamlin versus Chris Buescher. Buescher was up in the top 5 early after qualifying in row 2. Hamlin's been top 5 all night for the most part. He had a slow pit stop middle going in the race. Same for Chris Buescher. Buescher has not had the drivability through the field. He's still back in 17th while Hamlin sits 4th. As long as nothing major happens, the Hamlin lady should win that battle over Buescher. Kyle Larson versus William Byron. Of course, that spin by Larson pretty much taking him out of it. He's 2 laps down. He would need Byron to drop out of the race at this point, with Byron being in 2nd place and on the lead lap more in particular there. So Larson in danger of falling out of the tournament to his teammate. Shane Van Gisbergen versus Ryan Blaney, our final matchup on the lower right-hand corner. Blaney had a little bit of a rough going in the first half of the race. The strategy called Stage 2 flipped his race for him. He has been in the top 10 since then, currently in 7th after just getting passed by Bubba Wallace moments ago. But he is on the lead lap versus Shane Van Gisbergen, a lap down in 28th. Again, kind of similar to Byron and Larson matchup. As long as Blaney just finishes the race off on the lead lap here, he should be able to make it to the next round of the in-season tournament. And, of course, next weekend at Atlanta, Drafting Oval, going to maybe shake some things up with a wild card race, and not only the season standings, but this in-season tournament for round number 3. So that's the highlight on all that. Lead has fluctuated back and forth still. At one point there, about a lap or two ago, Byron was about 0.8 of a second behind Briscoe. Last time by at the line, Briscoe a couple tenths faster. Byron with a slight mistake and is now a second off the lead again. Christopher Bell is the fastest car in the racetrack. He was 0.3 faster than the race leader and about half a second faster than the second place car, William Byron. Bell coming to life with 23 laps to go. He's got a couple lap fresher tires. And after being 2.5 seconds off the lead, losing that time on the short side of the run, Bell's got a good long run car in the back half of stage 3, just like he did the first half. Bell, again, 3.5 seconds back in 3rd. Denny Hamlin closing as well, but he is about 5.8 seconds off the race lead in 4th. He stayed out the longest of the leaders that are up inside the top 5, so he's got the freshest of tires down the home stretch. And Alex Bowman, 8.8 seconds off the lead at 5th. Solid night for him. He's a few seconds ahead of Wallace and a few seconds behind Hamlin, all by himself there in the top 5. 20 laps to go this time by. I think Bell and Hamlin Hamlin being 5 seconds off the lead still. I know he's quick, but I just don't think he's got enough laps left. The lap time Christopher Bell's running, if he keeps that pace up, he is going to have a shot to get to Briscoe as long as he can pass William Byron quickly. The fact that he's in third, he's going to have to make a pass on the second place car. Byron holds him up just a little bit too long and might allow for Briscoe to hold on, running the lap times he is. The worst thing that could happen for the 19 to 24 is that Byron actually catches Briscoe. They battle for a little bit. Both of their lap times fade immensely, and then that opens the door up for Bell, and that's probably what Hamlin's going to need to have any sort of a shot back there at fourth also. Had some great battles on intermediate tracks with long green flag runs this season. We could be shaping up for another one here tonight in the return to the NASCAR Cup Series at Chicagoland Speedway. Just hit the 3-hour mark on today's race in the last couple of seconds. Down under 20 laps to go. A little bit of lap traffic for the leaders right now. Carson Hocevar being passed by Denny Hamlin on track. Hamlin, the fourth place car. Hocevar already off the lead lap. Christopher Bell with a couple lap cars he's trying to work around. He's going to the apron through the tri-oval to try to split around this traffic as quickly as he can. Kind of forced his way to go down to the bottom of the track. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race yesterday, we saw the track widen out quite a bit. While we've seen that to a certain extent in the Cup race tonight, we're not seeing drivers run right up on the wall like we did in the O'Reilly race yesterday. A little bit of a different line with these different cars around Chicagoland Speedway. And obviously when we were last here with the Gen 6 car in 2018, 2019, we saw everybody ripping the boards. But seems like the bottom lane, if you can run that inside the middle groove of the racetrack, you're able to run maybe your faster lap times if you have the drivability in your race car in those respective lines without having to run the wall and risk maybe brushing it like Chase Briscoe did on the last run. Luckily, Briscoe did not hurt his car too badly. Obviously, he's in the lead now and still keeping the car underneath him all these laps later. And contact he made with the wall was about 40 laps ago now, so obviously the car is still fine. If there was going to be an issue, it was going to be within the first few laps after wall contact and maybe puncturing a tire or pushing the fender in a bit, causing some aerodynamic deficiencies to maybe that right front fender, but it was just a slight kiss. Very subtle. I mean, he's doing a good job keeping his gap to Byron. But the job is going to get a whole heck of a lot tougher if Christopher Bell continues his pace he's currently on. Last lap, Bell was 0.4 of a second faster than the leaders, Briscoe and Byron, as they continue to run nearly equal lap times. Only a few thousandths of a second off of each other was Briscoe and Byron. That last lap, his lead still about 0.9 of a second. 31.6 to a 32.0 that last lap for the 20 versus the 24.19. Hamlin with a 31.539, about a tenth faster than Bell, but he's still 2 seconds behind the 20 car. Each of the top three in the running order, again, they're running 10th, 11th, and 12th in the point standings, all winless in 2026. Each of those drivers won multiple races in 2025. Christopher Bell had 4 wins last season. Byron had a few wins. Chase Briscoe had a few wins, but despite consistency this season, they haven't been leading the laps they were from last year and finally starting to hit their strides in the middle of the season. With 7 races to go in the regular season, a win's going to be huge for really one of these 3 drivers. Could vault them further ahead of the others at their round-in points to try to gain a couple extra spots and be a little bit higher in the seeding when the points reset for the chase. Bell is looking like the guy to beat here down the home stretch. Chop the lead down now to 1.7 seconds. Briscoe picked up that last lap. He was only a tenth of a second slower than Bell. The lap before that, it was about 4 tenths. And his lap time from one lap to the next also got better by about a tenth of a second, and Bell slipped up a bit as he was getting through some lap traffic. 24 car William Byron trying to run the same line as Christopher Bell. Bell is closer to Byron than Byron is to Briscoe. Trying to draft through the tri-oval as he gets by lap car Josh Berry in the 21. Bell has moved up to that middle to upper groove of the track, but not all the way on the wall. Byron middle to bottom of the racetrack, about 2 lanes lower than Bell. And now Bell takes to the inside. 24 of Byron washes up the racetrack. If Bell can make this pass in one corner, he's going to have a real shot at getting to Briscoe. He's clear. Bell up to second and is on the charge with 10 laps to go. Denny Hamlin also within 3 seconds of the leader that last time by at the line. It's going to be another JGR showdown between Briscoe, Bell, and Hamlin, it appears. These three had a wild shootout at Nashville about 3 weeks ago, and they may be setting up for another one here in Chi-Town. Bell a little over a second back. Briscoe doing his best to manage, but just doesn't seem to have the car that his teammates have behind him with slightly older tires. Bell pitted later than Briscoe, and Hamlin pitted later than all of the top 3 cars ahead of him. Hamlin should get to William Byron in the next lap or two for 3rd place, and he needs to get by him as quickly as Bell was able to make the pass on him. There is a ton of lap traffic ahead of Chase Briscoe as well. They showed an aerial shot on the TNT broadcast here recently, and there's about 5 or 6 lap cars not that far in front of the leader that could hinder his progress in trying to hold on to this lead. Middle to upper groove of the racetrack for Briscoe that last time through 1 and 2. Last lap at the line, Bell was about a 10th faster than Briscoe. 2/10 better was Denny Hamlin. And Hamlin had a mistake that last lap because now he's 5 seconds off the lead. I don't know if maybe he got against the fence or got really sideways and have to correct, but Hamlin, who was making up a lot of ground within 3 seconds of the lead, is now over 5 seconds back, so he can maybe take him out of the race. Showing a replay of Denny Hamlin, he was trying to run the outside near the wall, and he got into the wall. So Denny Hamlin, after wall contact, is probably going to take him out of a shot to win. So the battles between Briscoe and Bell, all alone. Byron losing ground, ton of lap traffic Bell's working through. Has to make a pass on the outside around 1 car, this time through 3 and 4. Another lap car in his way as he trails into turns 1 and 2. 5 laps to go this time by. Outside of the racetrack, Briscoe in the middle groove. Kind of the same line to that of Bell. I think Briscoe at this point just trying to mirror drive on the 20 car. There's one more lap car between the top 2 in the running order as they come to the start-finish line. Briscoe so close last week with a runner-up to Shane Van Gisbergen, and I don't think he wants to finish second again here tonight. The lead was a half a second the last time they crossed the start-finish line. Bell's got the car, but he doesn't have the track position. He's going to be the one that's going to have to try to make this pass. Still maybe 3 more lap cars up the way that the leaders are going to have to navigate through in these final 4 laps. Bell clear of the lap car, no more lappers between the top 2. Briscoe tries to break the draft to the apron on the bottom of the track as they cross through the start-finish line on the front stretch. Briscoe through the middle. Christopher Bell a lane wider through the entry to the corner. Similar line, middle to exit, but carries more speed down the backstretch. Bell is hounding after Briscoe fast. Briscoe changing his line defensively into turns 3 and 4. Trying to take the air off the nose of Bell. Bell wiggled in that bobble and lost ground to Briscoe. 3 laps left. Remember, Briscoe making those sudden movements and Bell having to counteract with that broken wrist, maybe not able to correct as quickly as if he was 100%. Could cost him a little bit of time if that Eero game ends up playing into effect, which seemed like it did the last time through 3 and 4. This time, Bell a little bit more clean air, a lane lower than Briscoe, closes the gap. 2 laps to go as they cross the stripe. 3 miles to go in the race. Bell a half a car length behind the 19 car of Briscoe as they enter turns 1 and 2. Down to the bottom of the racetrack goes Bell. He's on the white line. Slides up. He's not going to be alongside the 19. Briscoe will carry momentum down the back straightaway and pull Bell just a bit. Into turns 3 and 4, they'll be coming to the white flag. A little bit of a bobble by the 19 of Briscoe. Bell's got a run off turn 4. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Chicagoland. Trailing nose to tail. Christopher Bell trying to pull off his first win of the season with a broken wrist. Same for Chase Briscoe. Bell with a little bit of a bobble through turn 2. Pushing tight in the dirty air behind the 19. Briscoe's got a big gap into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. And he is going to hold on to win it. Chase Briscoe, first-time winner in 2026 and a first-time winner at Chicagoland Speedway. Job well done for the 19 team here tonight. Led a couple different times throughout the course of the race. And kind of dominated that final fuel run to the checker, leading for 50 laps here today. 3 hours, 9 minutes, 17 seconds total time on this evening's race. 7 cautions, but caution-free through the final stage as we went green for over 95 laps to get to the checker. 28 lead changes, 43 laps under yellow. We finish under the regulation length of 267 laps at 400 miles here on this July 5th Sunday night. Margin of victory, roughly a tenth of a second for Briscoe over Bell. I got fireworks going on in the background right as the race is ending. That's like perfect timing. Somebody's firing them off. It's like I can hear them straight from the racetrack. You'll hear from race winner not Christopher Bell. Hear from race winner Chase Briscoe here in a couple of moments. He's in the midst of his burnout on the front stretch. So while that's going on, we'll go through the full field finishing order here. Briscoe with the win. Christopher Bell in second. A 1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing. William Byron, who won the first 2 stages of the race, ends up finishing in third. Denny Hamlin in fourth. Alex Bowman rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Bubba Wallace with a solid run in sixth. Ryan Blaney 7th. Ty Gibbs 8th. Corey Heim 9th with back-to-back Cup Series top 10s. And Riley Herbst with a 10th place run of his own for 23-11. Chase Elliott finishes 11th, falling in that final run. Austin Cindric 12th, Joey Logano 13th, Daniel Suarez 14th, and Eric Jones 15th. 16th, Todd Gillen. AJ Allmendinger 17th was the last car to finish on the lead lap. Ross Chastain, first car lap down in 18th place. Chris Buescher 19th, and Ty Dillon 20th. Brad Keselowski 21st, Carson Hocevar 22nd, 23rd for John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 24th, Austin Dillon 25th. Shane Van Gisbergen 26th, 27th, Noah Gregson, Zane Smith 28th, Cody Ware 29th, and Michael McDowell finishes 30th. Cole Custer 31st, Ryan Preece 32nd, Josh Berry 33rd, Kyle Larson 34th, 35th, JJ Yaley. Tyler Reddick had his engine issues, ends up finishing 36th, 31 laps down. 2 cars DNF tonight, Austin Hill 37th, and Connor Zilic 38th. So that is the full field finishing order for tonight's race. Chase Briscoe out of his car on the front stretch, a winner at Chicagoland.
Sing at Chicagoland, that's the most all time. Here's Danielle Trotta.
6th career win for Chase Briscoe. First of the season with Joe Gibbs Racing. It took 18 weeks. We're halfway through the regular season, Chase. What's the emotion now of finally breaking through?
Yeah, and how about that race? Is that a good race? The Fellows? Yeah, what an unbelievable weekend. Just I feel so American winning in the Bass Pro Shops, red, white, and blue car, 4th of July weekend, 250 years. And, man, just what an unbelievable race car. James did a great job. Team did a great job. Yeah, just honestly did not see this coming. I feel like I was struggling in practice and qualifying, but yeah, James and the group did a great job. And, man, just so cool to get this paint scheme back in victory lane. Appreciate all of our partners, Freebird, Zat. We got all kinds. Wix, obviously, Tracker Boots, True Timber Camo. So just appreciate each and every person, Mobile One too, that makes this happen, and just what a cool weekend to win a NASCAR race.
And to do it on your crew chief's birthday. Today is James Small's birthday. You've told me for the last few weeks it's been frustrating watching your teammates win. What is it about James Small? What has he meant to your career to get you back to your winning ways?
Yeah, James is, me and him are about the two most polar opposite people in the world. And he just stays on me. He makes me be perfect each and every lap, and just does such a great job of keeping me honest. So, yeah, he told me if I win today, I can get some chocolate. So I'm pretty fired up about that.
Okay, we're back at Chicagoland. Fantastic race, Chase. What was the difference battling your teammate Christopher Bell, who had 2 lap fresher tires than you? How were you able to hold him off?
Yeah, just I kind of got lucky how the lap cars honestly kind of worked out. I was struggling pretty bad, and Christopher was certainly coming in. Out of all the people to race against, I knew Christopher was going to be clean with me. So, yeah, just great that, JGR ran once. I don't know if we were 3rd, 4th either, but yeah, just a really fun race. I felt like that was about as good as a race as you can get. Just from the cat and mouse game, we're slipping and sliding around. Hopefully you can see that on TV. And yeah, just once again, thank you to all you guys. So excited to be back to Chicagoland. Hopefully we can be back.
Chase Briscoe's a Midwest boy, right? The Hoosier gets it done here tonight at
Yeah, it was good to see a Midwest driver win at a Midwest track. Congrats to Chase Briscoe here tonight. We'll be live next weekend across all the top 3 series. Truck Series will be back in action at Lime Rock Park for their final road course race, a standalone event on Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. next week. O'Reilly race at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night next week, and the Cup race, a part of 3 straight Sunday night races, will be live at about 6:30 p.m. Eastern next Sunday at Atlanta, one of the more fun tracks on the schedule. Gonna be exciting there. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening, 4th of July weekend, everybody, and I will see you guys next time. Congrats again to Chase Briscoe. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content on the way out. Catch you next